sorry, but I must interrupt this show. Lennard, you know what it is? Hey, ham solo. It's time, baby. Low. It's time how we do. Hey. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we we say that you heard right. 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 They said we in. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we we say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a whip. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you on red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you red fox. Got you texting Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super fun like I'm playing for Blizzard. Got you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we on. They said we strong. They said we go.
Yo, what's cracking? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another phenomenal episode of Behind Them Six with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here with you on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel. And today, I have a phenomenal guest here with me. You may have seen her just absolutely getting nasty on one of the PlayStations or PC, getting in on some of those Remnants or Elden Rings, or them Souls games that she loves to play. If you recognize ERICUTZ4THEWIN is here with me this evening. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time, your energy, and the history that you're about to bring upon me today. Thank you so much. Hello, and how are you doing this evening, Eric?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I told you before the show, I've seen your show before, and I always kind of thought to myself, it'd be cool to be on there. Maybe he'll ask me. And here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a fun time.
Awesome. But before we get into the show, I want to do the honor of letting everybody know where they can find you or whatnot. So as you're going ahead and letting everybody know, I'm gonna show up on the screen so everybody can confirm whenever they go to a channel or whatnot that this is the right place or whatnot. So go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. Go ahead and start with Twitter.
Oh, Twitter is ERICUTZ4THEWIN. Basically, my name that you see on the screen, you're gonna find me by that name anywhere. So YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, what's the other one? TikTok. I do have a TikTok where I do like little shorts for gaming and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, that name, you're gonna find me anywhere. It's pretty easy to spot me. Can't miss it.
And there you guys can see her YouTube channel right there. Same
Looks
name,
good.
Same everywhere.
Yeah, I love seeing that up there. I'm proud of my channel where it's come, because I used to suck with thumbnails. So to see my channel as it is, it's like, yeah, I've come a long way. I've come a long way.
Congratulations, good job. And I'm happy to be able to broadcast it and show it on the big screen, because I feel like people need to do that more when they have guests on and stuff like that. They need to show where they're actually like their channel and stuff like that. So many people say, oh, plug your name and stuff like that, but people don't remember all that stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need just kind of a photographic kind of thing to see. So I just wanted to provide that a little bit before we went on ahead and got started. And I will provide that again before we get out of here this evening. But Miss Erica,
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was my pleasure. Again, thanks for being here, but let's go on ahead and dig in. So the first thing that I'm going to have to ask you about is, and this is a little bit off of what I had sent you. What do you kind of think about all this news that's been kind of going on lately with exclusivity? And how do you think, because I know you're one of those people that don't really give a damn about, Xbox, PlayStation,
I kind of
drama
don't.
in between it and stuff like that. So I'm interested to hear like how you feel about all this drama about exclusivity, and where do you think it's going to end up in the next few years?
where exclusivity is going to end up in a few years, as far as
Like
how
how PlayStation and Xbox
um
seems to kind of be handling exclusivity. Do you think they're going to be more sharing between each other as things happen, or do you think that this is just kind of like a one-off situation?
it could be a one-off. I think for the most part, if we had to guess or bet money or something, I would just say more games to PC. That's going to be obviously continuing. As far as Xbox and those rumors, I know they're maybe saying it could be what's that game called? The pirate game? I can't
Sea
think right
Thieves.
now. Sea of Thieves. They're saying it's going to be that game going to Nintendo or whatever, and then it could be Hi-Fi Rush. So I mean, I could see Xbox doing more of that because that's their plan. They want their games everywhere. And I remember thinking, maybe Game Pass at one point would be on Sony, and if anything, I think it'd be Xbox doing it. But overall, I mean, exclusivity, like you said, I don't really care that much because I got everything. So to me, I don't even know how to answer these questions at times because it really is like not really on my mind. I just play
Fair
what I
enough.
play, and we're going to talk about the games I play, but yeah, I do see the back and forth. I do see people on Twitter just constantly talking about it, and I'm just there scrolling like, can we talk about something else? No, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, I think more games are just going to go to PC, and I'm happy about that because I like playing on PC. I would like the better experience as far as frames, and I'm part of the crew and the gang that still wants Bloodborne on PC, even though it's not
Mm.
happening. But I want to see that. I want to see more games on PC. So that's where I'm at.
Well, speaking of the games that you've played and the stuff that you care about, let's kind of get into the background behind Erica and how you even became a gamer in the first place. Okay.
Mm,
So
mhm.
before the show, just a few moments ago, I had asked you, I ask everybody this question before we start the show. What was the first console that you owned? And you didn't even tell me one that you owned. You told me one that you just happened to have access to
Yeah.
because you was a kid, and we didn't walk around with buckets of money. We didn't get told to go to the store and go pick us up, something, and here's
Mm-mm.
a cell phone that you can just sit around and play on or something like that. We
Mm-mm.
had to go places or be able to be privileged enough to get something like a console to be able to play. And you told me that you ended up having to go over to your uncle's house
I
quite a bit,
did.
and the NES was the first console that you really got to sink your teeth into. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
Yes, the NES. So I was about 5. I'm an 80s baby. So I was
Me
about
too.
5 years old when I got to play the NES for the first time. I still remember it vividly, playing Mario and falling in one of the holes, like the first level, 1-1. And I could not make the jump. I was little. And my family was watching me. I remember vividly them laughing when that happened because maybe they thought I was cute or whatever. I was little. But I remember being upset when
I
I
took that
fell.
personally.
I was competitive. Like I was always competitive as a kid, whether it was like board games, sports, I was a competitive kid, tomboy, big time. So when that happens, I don't know if it just triggered something in me to like, I gotta do it. Like I gotta jump further. I gotta figure this out. And I've just always been that way. I played Contra. I played Kid Icarus on NES. What else did I
Blast.
play? Metroid. Just games like that were difficult for me because I was young. I didn't know how to. I couldn't even beat the games. I would just play them over and over at the beginning. I would start them over and over. And yeah, I would have to go to my grandma's house where my uncle lived, and he was only 5 years older than me. So he was kind of like my older brother in that sense. I only
Okay.
had one younger sister, no older sibling to kind of introduce that. Because I feel like a lot of people have that story of like the older sibling had the console and then were introduced. But me, I didn't
Yes.
have that. I had my uncle. And so through him, I got to play the Game Boy. I got to play the Super Nintendo. Later on, the N64. It was a lot of Nintendo. And later on, he ended up getting Sega consoles, Sega Saturn, stuff like that. and would borrow consoles. So even though he didn't have one, he would borrow something like the PS1, and then I would be able to have access to those. So through him, I mean, I owe him a lot because I was able to access all this stuff. Because like you said, we just didn't have money like that. My family did not. I didn't even have my first console until I was like, I want to say 13, 14. Ooh. Yeah, because we just, didn't have the money. And also my mom was kind of religious and kind of strict, and we didn't get to play as much as we wanted.
So
it's
maybe
a lot of
let
that.
me ask you. Let me ask you real quick. Like, it's not too personal at all, but like a little bit of a personal question. Like, what was like the vibe in a household that's religious, and it comes to like video games? And you already kind of telling me, I had to go into a different household to play it. What was the advertisement like at home saying, "Mama, please, would you go get me?" Because I'm sure you had it a few of those times where you're like, "Mama, now please. You see me playing at my uncle."
I did my homework. I did all my homework. Right. I did my chores. Yeah, that was definitely incentive to be a good girl, right? To like not get in trouble. And so when she did see me on the console, I could get away with it, have some extra time. But no, she wasn't. I don't want to say she was super strict. It wasn't really that. It was more so back then in the 90s. You remember how it was. The bad rap games got back then. They were violent. They they were a time waster. Things like that. That was kind of the mentality just in general.
If you ever seen the movie Detroit Rock City.
I haven't.
That is a movie where they're just like, this Kiss music is the devil. And that's what video games kind of were.
It kind of
for so
was.
long to so many people, like, especially the people that had religious families. It was like looked at as like Kiss was back in the 70s or something like that. Like this right here, this game. Like, I feel like it's funny that Vincent Vega in the chat says right here, Doom is a Christian game. Like, it's
absolutely. Absolutely. No, but the music thing, I definitely understand that too. I went through that as well with the music, and if it was too hard and all that. But no, when it came to gaming, she didn't mind us playing the Marios and all that. But when we did get our N64, when I was about 13 or so, it was used. It came with maybe about 8 or 9 games. And my dad had bought it from a coworker. So I was hype. I had all these games, but you know what game was in there? Was GoldenEye. And once my mom walked in one day and we had GoldenEye on the TV and she saw those guns and the shooting, she's like, nope, that's got to go. So it was basically like we could game, but if it was violent, she didn't want it in the house. So I was kind of held back. And there was even times where I would play Mortal Kombat with my cousins at like a family party or something. We'd be in the room playing and I'd be like, oh, my mom doesn't come in, doesn't see us. And it would be my turn. We'd be taking turns. And then sure enough, she'd be coming in to like take us home or let us know, hey, we're going to go soon. And she would see the game, be like, Erica, you're not supposed to be playing that, So it was kind of like I'd get reminded, you're not supposed to be doing that, But in a way, it's not like I have like resentment towards it because she was just being a mom. She just probably thought that was best for me not to see that stuff. And then once I got older, maybe that kind of influenced me to play the games I play now because I was very attracted to like Gears of War, and games like that. And, I see a chainsaw taking off a head. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, So maybe in a way, being suppressed like that kind of motivated me to go where I went. Who knows? It's interesting to think about.
I've always wondered about that kind of stuff because it's just like, and I'm sure you've seen it growing up as well. Like, I've personally like met like kids that came from Christian schools and then they end up being the worst motherfuckers. And it's just like, yo, what happened? I thought
they go wild, like because they've been sheltered.
You're gonna be the one to bring some peace in this motherfucker, and you came in here ripping shit to shreds. Like,
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. I had some other friends who were they grew up Christian and kind of strict household, and they went a little wild once they got to actually go out and stuff.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
that
me,
freedom.
I kind of didn't really do too much of that. I kind of didn't. But when it comes to gaming and my hobbies, I went crazy. Once I was able to have my own money, play what I wanted, I just
So
took
let's
over.
talk about that real quick. So obviously you said like the 64 was like the first thing to like be in your house, right?
Hmm.
And you had access to that. You
Yeah,
had different games that you played, like Mortal Kombat, you said. I'm sure you played some of the Mario games and all
for sure.
in different types of things, seeing that you had a Nintendo. But
Hmm.
once you were of age to like really recognize like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, what console was that you were
Mm.
just like, man, I bought this because it had A, B, and C?
Mm. That has to be the 360 for Gears. That was a game that I was like, I have to have that game. And the first Gears, my uncle had it. My uncle had everything. He was a total Xbox dude when he grew up. And he'd be like, "You got to see this game." And he's showing me Gears 1, and I'm just like, "Holy crap," because I saw that berserker running through. I don't know if you know that scene in Gears 1, and it blew my mind. I was like, "Wow, I see why you like this. This is awesome." But I didn't really commit to the console yet. I was like, I still had my Wii. I had my sights on the Nintendo Wii. Like, I'm gonna get that. I'll be all right. But then as time went on, and I saw Gears 2. Gears 2 was the one I was like, I have to get this game. I have to get into this series immediately. And then that's when I made the decision to go with Xbox right then and there. And I was on the 360 for that generation most of the time with the multiplayer and everything, and having party chat and game chat. That was just mind blowing to me. I was like, this is amazing. I can play this game that I really love and meet people and talk a little shit and like we can cuss on here, right? I don't know if we
Yeah, yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've
And
got done cussing, so
yeah, the
yeah.
trash talk, them talking to me because I'm a woman. You know how it was, man. That was the 360 days. And I freaking loved it. It just fueled me to want to, because like I said, I was competitive. And I was always that girl that was doubted. And I wanted to show the boys, like, I can play. I can do these things. So I think the 360 was very pivotal in like what I'm doing now, because it started my love for not only Gears, but also wanting to share that experience with Gears. And then that's what started my YouTube channel from there. So the 360, I credit it a lot
Very pivotal.
for a lot of this stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that kind of brings me to the next thing that I kind of want to talk about, and I talked about this a little bit with Delilah, because she
Okay.
was. I had her on last week. Phenomenal guest. Had a great
She's
time
cool.
having her on.
She's
Uh,
cool.
very
Yeah.
knowledgeable,
Hmm.
and she's been in the game for quite some time.
Yeah.
But we were talking about communication and stuff like that as to getting on Xbox Live for some of the first times and whatnot. And you had just mentioned a moment ago, like, I finally got on there and I wanted to prove myself and stuff like that. I want to hear like how you felt from like the jump. Like, obviously, you got comfortable with it,
Hmm.
but were you comfortable from the start, or were there some things that like made you kind of like, nah, I'm
Like
not
I'm gonna
really
chill
into
back a
this,
little
and
bit.
then you
Yeah.
get into it as things kind of progress? Was there any of those kind of moments for you?
I think so. Yeah, at the beginning, I was a little bit more shy. I was a little more reserved. And I remember specifically playing Gears 2, and I didn't talk on the mic for a while. I just kind of played, and I would listen and see what was going on. But it took me a minute, I think. From what I remember, it took me a minute to actually say something. And it was probably game related, probably me calling out like, "Hey, there's an enemy here," or something like that. And yeah, I would get those comments of like, "Oh, there's a chick in here." are you a girl? You know, it was always about me being a girl. And
Right.
I don't remember how that made me feel or if it rubbed me the wrong way, but I just remember liking how we could talk. And that was like really interesting to me. Like, oh, this is cool. And then I would eventually start to get some comments that were very sexist and things like that. And it didn't, if anything, I want to say it kind of made me want to talk more. Like it kind of made me want to be like, okay, is this what we're gonna do? Okay, then let me show you, let me prove, or make them feel stupid if I
Like, you
actually
showed me the
do
scab,
good.
and I'm a pick it.
Right, right. And especially if they would say things like girls suck at Gears or Call of Duty, because I played Call of Duty as well. And so I would try my best to prove like I can be at the top or I could kill them, you know, and I could outplay them. That was kind of my thing. So yeah, I don't know. I think if anything, yeah, it just made me want to get better, get good, and prove. Because I did suck at Gears at first. I really sucked. Like I was not good. And Gears is not a game you can just pick up and be good at,
No.
especially then. So it took a lot of time for me to get better, and then it got to the point where they wouldn't say anything. You know what I mean? Like they would see my stats and be like, okay, she can play. And then I ended up meeting friends that way, and we ended up playing together. And then I would kind of learn from them, and they would trash talk. I would join in. We'd be a little bit toxic, and but that was normal back then. That was very normal. And yeah, I did partake. I definitely partook.
What was it like maintaining some of them friendships? Like, and what I mean by that is, like, I watched my wife, right? And she plays a lot of Halo online, a lot of Halo. Like, she has easily like 10 or 12 days in Halo over me. And I don't not play Halo. Like, I play a good amount of Halo every now and then, but she plays it like daily, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So but I notice if I hop on the computer and I just turn on the Xbox app, she's getting all sorts of invites from every which way. Did that start kind of happening after like you started to really kind of put yourself out there, or were you still pretty reserved and like set to private or offline? like how did you meander through the community early on?
Oh, that's a good question. So I did have a group of friends that I played with, and I remember meeting one of them through the Gears forums. And we would chat on there and then make plans to play. And I don't even know where this guy is at anymore. Shout out to him. But he was cool. We would play together and stuff. And then through him, we'd kind of meet other people. But as far as keeping up with them, it's been so many years. You know, we would stick by each other through Gears 3. And then after that, I think it was because of Gears connecting us and me kind of going off to different games and them doing different games. One of them, for example, went to League of Legends. Never saw him again. He just started playing League of Legends. And every now and then we'd tweet each other or something like that. But we honestly like lost a lot of connection because we don't play Gears anymore, really. So when it came to that part of it, yeah, I didn't really keep a lot of friendships, but we're still cool with each other. If I were to see them online and be like, oh, shoot, let's game, you know? But as far as like, getting more involved in the community, right? Because Gears was kind of the game that got me out of my shell a little bit to talk to people and all of that and be on the forums. That just kind of went into YouTube and comment sections. And so I would meet people through their videos. I would check out Gears content, and then I would like a certain content creator, chat to them, and then I would end up going into their streams, chat with them. And then I became somebody they knew through there. Oh, Eric is here, you know, and they would call me out. They would say something to me. Their chat would know me. And then we would just kind of keep up this friendship. Like, for example, Gamer2323. Do you know Gamer? Jeremy? I don't know if you know him. No. Well, he was a big one that I would watch a lot. And through him, I met people, and I kind of became this girl that's just around. And people would then follow me or find my content through them. And you know how it goes with networking. Sometimes you just, by knowing somebody, gaming with them, being in their chat. And it wasn't even preemptive. It wasn't like I was doing it just so they go to my channel or something like that. I genuinely loved hanging out in there. And that was kind of my thing. And that was before I started streaming and stuff on my own. So I was kind of just the viewer and somebody who kind of does YouTube and is not very good at it, but she's making videos and she's around, and people just started kind of knowing who I was. And then through him and through others, I found like BG, for example. Who else? More people. And then eventually it just grew and grew. And now I'm kind of known by everyone, I guess. It's been years, but that's kind of how it went down. I hope that answers your question. I feel like I was all over with it, but yeah. You're muted, by the way. I don't know if it's muted for the stream, but for me, I don't hear you.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have this problem muting myself when I cough and then I forget to unmute myself. I've been doing that for like the last month. But anyways, that I was saying that kind of leads me into the next thing, which I mean, obviously now you kind of get into a community. You're understanding gaming from a whole new side that you didn't really get to touch upon as a kid, right? And you're an adult now, so you're more of an adult now. So like talking to people isn't creepy, right? Being a kid and talking to people, and you know, you kind of grew with gaming in a way, right? Where now that this is available, this actually became available when I was closer to being an adult, which is kind of cool.
I mean, I was in my 20s when I was on Xbox Live already. So, I mean, I was a full-blown adult, you know, and it wasn't creepy in the way I could handle myself. I felt comfortable with myself. And yeah, I was a little reserved, but I was still like, these are just people on the internet. Like, they're not gonna, what are they going to do to me? You know? So I always kind of had that mentality of like growing that thick skin. And that just continued since then. Yeah.
So shout out to Gears for bringing that out of you, right?
Definitely.
I'm kind of curious what, you know, grabbed the torch after that and kept on running. Was it a game? Was it a console? Was it just some sort of life event that happened where you're just like, I'm moving on from Gears because I found this, and this right here is amazing. What was that, first of all?
It was definitely Bloodborne. Bloodborne, it didn't necessarily make me think I'm done with Gears and like all this other Xbox stuff. It wasn't that. It was just like, oh my gosh, I love this game. And I suck at it. It's always that thing. I suck at it and I want to get better, right? It's like, that's a continuing thing with me. So I think with Bloodborne, it really kind of hit that for me. And the mystery of it and everything surrounding it. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I loved it, you know? And I eventually beat the game. And that year was very busy for me. So I beat it kind of later than everyone else because I got married that year. There was like a lot of stuff going on. So when I finally beat it and I had made a couple videos about it, I just kind of kept on with that. Okay, Bloodborne was awesome. Now let me learn about the rest of the games. Like, let me go to Dark Souls. So I went to Dark Souls 2 of all games. People think that's crazy because they don't like Dark Souls 2, but that's what I did. I beat Dark Souls 2. I recorded videos. I did the boss fights. I made a playlist of all the boss fights. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I like this. It just slowly grew into this. I want to show myself struggling on these bosses and then overcoming them. And it just became a thing. And then Dark Souls 3 came out and it was just kind of history since then.
Well, I'm going to slow you down real quick. I'm going to slow you down real quick to ask you, like,
I know I'm jumping ahead.
Are you like, like what about you are like, because it seems like you're kind of saying that I was a little bit of a glutton for punishment. Like I'm hearing that just a little bit. Like I just kept getting my ass kicked, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this game too, so I can continue to get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like that. To me, that shows a little bit of a tendency of glutton. You know,
like I'm a masochist. That's the word that we like to use. Yeah, I mean, we joke about it. A lot of Souls gamers joke about it, like, yeah, we like pain and we like, we like to get beat up. But it's not, I don't know if it's that. I think it's just that feeling of beating it, and the feeling of overcoming it. And it's just it's a joy that I don't know. I think about it like, okay, what is it about this stuff? I do videos about like why I like these games. And I think to myself, what is it? And all I could really come up with is that, yeah, I think it's just that challenge and that competitive nature I've always had. And that feeling, like I mentioned with the Mario story, of being laughed at when I fell and just that kind of pissing me off. And I want to prove that I can do it, And I don't know if it's just since then, I just always had this thing of, yeah, I'm going to get beat down, but I'm going to eventually overcome that, It's just it's awesome. I think that's what gaming really provides for me. So it's perfect. Once I hit Bloodborne, I started playing Bloodborne, it was like everything I desired. I just didn't know at the time,
I ever
So
see a stream with you and you end up dying or something like that, I'm just gonna vividly remember like I'm just gonna imagine like a set of parents just sitting there laughing at you because you fell off in Mario or something like that. I don't know. I just
I
think
have
that's
like
funny
that
that
cloud thought bubble. And
yeah,
I'm
exactly,
like a
right?
little kid
Exactly
just
that.
ready to cry.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's
no.
kind of that's an interesting. I mean, that's interesting how you put your history and wrapped it up the way you did right there and presented it like, yo, like I've always wanted to beat, I like beating tough things and whatnot, and it reminds me of when I couldn't even make a jump in a
Exactly.
game.
Because now I can do it. Back then I wasn't old enough or skilled enough to even beat games. I didn't beat my first game until, I want to say, this is from my memory, Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo. That was like the first long kind of filled out game that I beat. And I was so proud of that. And I forget how old I was, but yeah, it took me a minute to even beat games. So now as an adult, I can play these challenging games that remind me of back then, but now I can actually beat them. I'm skilled enough to do it. Yeah, that's true.
That's good. I mean
Um,
that it's pretty cool to be able to put your history together like that. But let me go on ahead and acknowledge
mm,
some of the folks out here watching the show this evening. I appreciate you guys for stopping through. Punty, Rachie, good to see you. Delilah, I appreciate you for stopping back through.
uh,
Um, Vincent Vega, Mr. Joanna Dark. Let's see. Ray Chi, Matt Likes Games, Miss K's TV. What's cracking? Good to see you up in here. I see you talking
Shout out
back
to
and
Miss
forth.
K. That's a OG right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on I've been on the show a few times with her on K Mega's channel. I'd love to get her about on here one of these times. I just need to reach out,
Yeah. Get on
figure
here.
out.
Hmm.
That'd be fantastic. I'd love to hear her history because she's been in the not in just gaming but also content creation for a hot
Long time. Long time.
right.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, but getting back to our conversation, so like Souls games, Bloodborne really brought out a whole new genre for you, is what it sounds like, and kind of turned you more into a Souls player. And it seems like that's still relevant to today.
Yeah.
Very much so if you go back and look at, some of the more recent things that you've been playing on here. I mean, I still have your YouTube pulled up and, I see
It's all
Elden
souls.
Ring.
It's all souls.
Saltborn is great.
Yeah.
A Remnant 2, which is like a gun version of like a Souls like with guns,
Hmm.
right?
Praise the gun, they say. Praise the gun.
Lies of P, another big one
Fire.
that's kind of been a big deal as of lately. Um, would you now say that like you lean more into Souls than anything else, or is Souls just like one of the many genres that you cover?
It's definitely the core of my gaming. It's the core of my channel. I mean, you see, that's all I do. So because I do a lot
Mhm.
of Souls games on the channel, yeah, it takes a lot of my gaming time. I'm on Souls games all the time, but I do play other genres. I play shooters from time to time, like with my friends, or I'll play like a Metroidvania. Metroidvania is probably my second favorite genre. So I'll play something, that like I was just doing a video on Hollow Knight. I'm working on Hollow Knight right now. Again,
Yeah,
playing
in
through
fact,
that
somebody
again.
was asking in the chat a little bit ago. I think it
Hmm.
was Abdel114 was asking.
Okay.
He said, "Erica, should I?" Right here, it said, "Erica, should I play Hollow Knight?"
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a must play. I see him saying Phil with the dream clouds. That's probably an inside joke, but yeah, definitely play Hollow Knight. Absolutely. And Silk Song, whenever that comes, you can be ready for that if you beat Hollow Knight now. So you'll appreciate it more probably. But yeah, so
Man, they've
I
been
play
pushing
play
back
different
Silk
things.
Song for a hot minute, right?
It's one of those things where it's like that it don't even exist until it exists. It's just been such a long time. So we'll see.
Is it turning into a new Metroid game?
What do you mean? Oh, like Metroid
Everybody
Prime?
has that, like, it's coming this time and it never comes out.
Like Metroid Prime 4. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be one of those situations. If I had to bet, I would say Silk Song probably coming sooner than Metroid, but still, it could be a far ways off. We don't know. We don't see a date. We don't see footage or anything. So we'll see. I'm not holding my breath, but hopefully soon. Hopefully.
Okay, so Erica, so what are some really good games that surprised you that aren't really into the genres that you usually play that came out recent?
Mm, probably Baldur's Gate 3. I've been playing that as well. I'm considering dropping it though, not because it's a bad game. It's an amazing game. It's just so time consuming. It's ridiculous with time, like, and how much time I need to play that game. So that's the reason I'm dropping it because it's so much to learn, but I like it a lot. So that's definitely a game that I just wish I had more time for. And I love the game. Yeah. Other than that, recently, you want to know like recent games or just
Sure.
in general? Gosh, I have to think. What did I even play that was not Souls recently? I don't know, man. It's just so much Souls that I play. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to think about that.
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
I'm gonna let you cook on that one for a little
Let me
bit.
think. Yeah, let me think for a
Yeah, I'm gonna
second.
let you cook on that one for a little bit. But
Um,
but while you're doing that, so you said you had the 360, right?
mhm.
Really big on that. And then I'm assuming since you got Bloodborne, you had the PS4,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um, where are you currently at with this generation where we stand right now? Like, do you still play on either console? Do you have both of them? How are you rocking at this point?
What am I console warring for? No,
Not really. More or less, like, what are
I'm just
you
kidding.
enjoying? Like, is it? I mean, you said you were big into Nintendo, so are you still rocking with the Switch? Are you? I
I
mean,
have a
I'm assuming
Switch.
you got a PS5, maybe a Series X, but then again, I know that you walk with rock with Alex and them, so maybe you just rock on PC. I don't know. So that's why I mean I'm
I'm
here
PC
asking you.
elitist. I have everything. Like I literally have everything. I have the Switch. I don't play the Switch as much. Oh, I will say that. It's not as much as last gen, but I do have that. I have the X. I'm looking at it right now. I have the X and the PS5 right behind it, and I got my PC and a Steam Deck somewhere. But yeah, I kind of have everything. Yeah. And
Okay.
I if I had to say my preference, honestly, from the console side of things, people are gonna call me a pony. I just prefer using the PS5. I don't know what it is. It's quicker to download games. I started
It is
noticing
fast
this
to download game.
recently. Yeah, I was using my ex to play Baldur's Gate because I got gifted the game there, right? Shout out to Rand. He gave me the game.
That's
So
what's
I've been
up.
using my ex to for sure download it, get the updates, start the game. And they have that quick resume That's not
Right.
so quick. That's not so quick at times. There's been times I've switched from Baldur's to Halo because we would jump on Halo, and Halo would be mad slow. Like it would not connect me to the multiplayer. It would be
There are
stuck.
certain games that I feel like we
Yeah,
need to turn off
dude.
the quick resume option for in
Yes.
specifically multiplayer games. Any
I
game
think
that has a
yeah,
multiplayer function needs to not have quick resume on it.
that's
Because
probably
anytime I
what it
turn on
is.
2K, Halo, Call of Duty, any of the games that have multiplayer, it's just lost when I turn it back on. So
It's
yeah, I hear you.
slow as heck. It almost makes me feel like it's frozen at times. I'm like, "What is wrong with my Xbox? Like, what's going on?" So I'd have to
You have to
turn
kill the
off
game.
the whole thing or turn off the game. Yeah, exactly. So recently it kind of occurred to me like I think I prefer the PS5 just because I don't have to deal with this. It's quicker. I'm downloading games faster. The updates, they feel faster. Controller wise, I really don't care. I like them both, but I still use my X and I like my PC. That's convenient too, especially when I am streaming and stuff like that. There's certain games that I feel just work better on PC, but then there's times they work better on consoles. So I'm just kind of like whatever works for me in the moment, whether I'm streaming, making content, just trying to switch between games, whatever's faster and better, I'm all about it. Like that's just where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay. Um, with that being said, you said you had a Switch, correct?
Yes.
Looking into later on this year, there obviously, I'm sure you've heard the rumors about a possible Switch successor that could be very
Mhm.
similar to what we have now, just, better graphics, maybe maybe higher FPS or more hertz or whatever. Um all that good stuff. So like
Yeah.
I'm wondering, does that pique your interest at all, or is this something that you're just like really depends on their, games? I'm just kind of trying to gauge if you're kind of day one on Nintendo, or if you're more or less like, I'm gonna wait to see how they handle this situation.
Kind of both. I'm interested to see how much of an upgrade it really is because for all we know, it could just be a bigger battery life and maybe the frames are a little bit better. I mean, I don't know. So it's kind of a wait and see, but also it depends when it happens because my son right now is like 16 months old. So if
Mm,
this happens next year, he's still too young to really play games. But if maybe a iteration comes out when he's 4 or 5, I would probably be more likely to just get that, and then he can have my old Switch, or you know what I mean? Like something like that kind of situation. Because I have the OLED Zelda Switch that just came out last year.
yeah.
So I'm pretty upgraded already as far as like I can give that away to someone if I get a new one or keep that one if I want. I'm kind of cool with it as it is. But yeah, if this next one comes out and there's a big difference on frames and as far as like the standards Nintendo goes by, because Nintendo, they tend to just do their own thing and they don't really do too much when it comes to frames and stuff like that. But if they happen to, I think, yeah, I'd maybe be day one, especially if a game comes out that I'm interested in at the time. If Metroid happens to come out or something like that. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I hear that. For myself, just to kind of answer the same question that I asked you, I'm more or
Mhm.
less kind of wondering, like, how are they gonna handle, like, you know, Phil Spencer said last year with the whole, like, after the whole Redfall thing, the whole digital library and stuff like that. And it kind of makes me think, like, I wonder how Switch, or how Nintendo, better yet, is gonna handle. I bought all these games on my Switch. How is that gonna move over to the Switch too? And
Mm,
are
mhm.
are any of these cartridges gonna work still? How about the
It's a
digital
good
games that I
question.
purchased, like Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, or Breath of the Wild? Are they gonna be free to be up? Which I just
I
doubt.
doubt it, yeah.
I
I
doubt
doubt
it.
it.
But like, are they
That would be
gonna
a
like come
miracle.
present and stuff like that for free, or are they gonna have like an extra charge for it? Is there gonna be an adapter for this? How are you guys going to handle party chats now? Because you guys are shit at that right now, where we currently
They
stand.
still
Are we
don't
still
have.
going to have these social security numbers as our IDs? Like,
Good
like
question.
I'm really interested in how they're going to handle, like, kind of internally for a lot of this different stuff that I'm thinking about, because it's just like I really want to jump to more Nintendo with this next console coming out, get the new Switch or whatever, but it's just like I don't want to get it and then start from zero all over
I
again.
feel
Because when I
you.
bought this Switch, it was like I bought it and then it's like I had to buy games. There was no like carryover
Mhm.
from the last console. At least for me, there wasn't at all. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm kind of curious for. But moving on,
I feel you.
the PS5. Now that also is supposed to have some sort of newer version that's supposed to come out either late this year or next year, or, PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yes.
Is that something that is making your mouth water at all? Or are you just like, I'm all set with what I got? You guys seemingly haven't had too much of a problem delivering what I want on this box as it currently is. Do you need more specification or more information about this console before it launches, or are you just day one don't care, gonna do it?
I don't think I would be day one on a Pro for the PS5. I think because I have my PC, I'd be like, well, I'll just play games there. But I think the reason for that, though, because it's a different conversation from the Switch, because those games aren't really on PC, and it's more unique experience there. With the PS5 as it is now, I could basically play the same games, and they're already saying the jump wouldn't be that significant anyways. It would be more pointless this time around. At least that's kind of the vibe people are giving compared to the PS4 Pro. Because at the time, I felt the PS4 Pro was a nice little jump, and I felt it was worth the money. But now I don't really have that feeling for whatever reason. It could just be because I feel the PS5 is okay as it is. Games are 60 frames for the most part. Unless there's some crazy jump to where only specific games are going to be on the Pro and it's something I really have to play, then that might change my mind. But if we're talking the same games, not much of a jump, and for $500 or so, it's like I don't really need it. You know what I mean? Because I got my PC. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
And I kind of get that, because it's just like within the same generation, when we're seeing cards like 3080s struggling for some of these games,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you really going to put into that PS5 Pro? Or if Xbox made a Pro version of a console, it's just like, what are you going to do to make this
Like a
as
must-have.
sustainable as like a 3070 Ti or a 3080, better yet?
Yeah.
Right? Like how are you gonna? Because I mean, I have a 3080 in my PC, and it's like sometimes like when I'm playing certain games, it's like 60 FPS is like the best I can do. like 60 FPS is the best I can do with certain games. It's just and I understand there's more dials and stuff, much more for you to play around with on PC, turn up, turn down, and stuff like that. But as for like CPU, GPU, and best I can think of is just like I don't know what they could do other than maybe give it a little bit better resolution. Because I mean, I think that's all the Series X ever got on it in some instances was like, oh, it had a little bit better resolution, but it's like only people that are like people that care about that stuff really notice it.
The people, I always kind of feel like there's a category of people who care about like 4K and they're looking forward to 8K. There is those gamers. For me, it's like I don't even game on 4K. My monitors are not 4K. I don't make content in 4K. I don't care about 4K. I just want smooth frames and at least 1080p. I would like 1440. That's ideal, but I'm not one of those that hang up on like, oh, that thing's not shiny enough. I need that shinier. I need ray tracing. I'm not one of those. As long as it looks beautiful as it is and it's a great art style, it's not ugly in terms of like blurry or something like that. I hate motion blur. I hate that stuff. So as long as it's clean and it's smooth, I'm happy. And that's the reason why I really want 60 frames on Bloodborne, because I'm happy with the game as it is and as it looks. I think the game's gorgeous. People think it looks ugly, and I'm just like, how? That game's gorgeous to me. I just want it to be smooth. I want it to feel gorgeous. So yeah, I'm not one of those that's like, well, it has a tiny bit better resolution, I have to have it. Like, no, that's not me. That's not me. I appreciate beautiful graphics. It's not like I would complain. It's just not necessary to have it just the resolution jump. It's got to be more than that for me.
Okay. And then as for Xboxes, we already talked about Nintendo. We talked about PlayStation's future and whatnot. Xbox seemed to bow out when it comes to a pro console or something like that
consoles.
for the rest of the generation. Maybe I'm hoping and thinking that they got another console coming in a few years or whatnot, but I have to sit on my hands and wait on that one. But what I'm going to talk about with Xbox is a little bit different. I'm curious as to what you think about this upcoming direct, and also what you think about the whole Activision thing and how you think they may implement that, because that seems to be like the elephant in the room. And sure, it's like, oh, pay attention to the direct with these games and whatnot, but there's definitely, I'm sure you can go into any comment section and scroll down and see somebody that says, where's the Activision? So let's start out first with
Activision.
What do you think about this upcoming direct with Aura supposedly being shown? Machine Games has Indiana Jones that they're supposed to show. Hellblade is supposed to make its comeback to be shown in Avowed. Those are the known games for sure that are going to be there. Thoughts?
I think it's good timing, considering the mind share right now is like Sony's been kind of scaring people, and PlayStation's future has been kind of scaring people. And I feel like Xbox is taking a good opportunity to be like, okay, let's put us in your minds instead. And I think they're picking a great time to do that. Indiana Jones, I'm excited to see what it looks like. I've heard and read some of it's going to be in first person, which I'm not a fan of. So I just kind of want to. I want to
that either.
Yeah,
I want third person.
Same. I'm a big third person fan, not just because I like it better, but also because the first person could give me motion sickness at times for like action adventure games. I just don't like it in certain
I was
genres.
just telling somebody the other day that I was playing that while I was playing Dying Light, it was a fun game. I had a great time, but parkouring sometimes, like getting into a heavy scene of parkouring, sometimes I had to like take a break after that scene was over and just be like, oh my goodness, I just jumped all over the place, first person flying and everything, and it's just it's a little weird.
I don't think I would be able to do that, like those kinds of games. It's hard. I can do shooters. I can do multiplayer because I'm kind of in control, but when the camera's sort of wrapping around and doing what it wants to because of cinematics or however, I can't do it. So I'm a little bit scared of that, but I need to see how it's implemented. I've heard it's going to be just for the puzzles. So first person for puzzle solving, who knows? So I want to see what's going on with that. But it's exciting nonetheless, I feel like, for the fans, because they're going to get to see these games and hopefully have release dates. Hellblade absolutely needs a release date. I don't know if it got it yet. Did it?
No.
I forget. Yeah, so that I think has to happen. Show the game again, give a release date, and have it be this year. And they're saying these games are coming out this year, which is, wow. If all those can come out, that's a pretty big year for Xbox.
I feel like that's the purpose of the developer direct, is to like show off the games that are soon to be coming out within the next like 12 months or whatnot. Because if you think of the last developer direct, all those games are out now.
Good point. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, that's what I think that they're kind of doing this for. And keep in mind, Xbox also said, they want to put out a big game like every quarter, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
they said that.
mentioned 4 games here. So,
Mm,
so it's just something that, something interesting that I just so
yeah.
happened to notice. And I'm sure many other people have noticed that either, because I'm not a super duper genius or anything. I just put together some simple pieces of a puzzle. But anyways, so going from that, and you said, if they can put out all these games, it'd be a pretty solid year. They're taking a lot of mind share, especially with how dry it's kind of looking for PlayStation currently, and then also with Switch kind of with Nintendo kind of transitioning into a whole new console. This is a kind of a good moment for Xbox. But then I have to ask you about the obvious elephant in the room, which is, like I said just a moment ago, Activision Blizzard. What do you
Right.
think about that? And do you think that they're going to announce anything at this developer direct about it at all? Do you think they're going to have another kickback like they did with Bethesda, and have a show where it's just like them sitting around talking about it or whatnot? Because they've had a lot of issues internally. Activision
Mm.
Blizzard. I feel like people sitting on the couch and acting like everything's cool and kosher is kind of weird. But what do you think?
I think for this direct thing, they're probably not going to talk about it. I mean, if it's not in the plans, I think what they've put out there already, like we're talking about these 4 games, that's it. That's what they're going to do, which is fine. That's totally fine. I don't know if I would be sitting there thinking, well, where's Activision? Because it's not really something I'm looking for. But I know, like you said, there's other gamers who are scratching their heads like, where's Activision? But I think eventually that those games will just be shown, whether it's E3 time or something before that. They probably would do their own little sit down thing, especially if it's Bethesda again or something like that. I could see that happening, but I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about Activision. I mean, there's probably internal things going on, and they're cleaning things up, kind of getting back on track. I'm sure Phil's, doing his thing, trying to oversee that stuff. And I would say give him a little bit more time, and I'm sure you'll see them kind of just be themselves. I don't see why they wouldn't, but you never know.
No doubt. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't
So,
worry.
are there some other kind of games that you're looking forward to now? So, I mean, obviously we just got done talking about the big 3, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. But third party matters big time.
Absolutely.
So,
more so, in my opinion.
Yeah,
More so.
I'd go to even say that's what drives anybody to even play any of these consoles in the first place, right?
Absolutely.
So, except maybe Nintendo. Nintendo's kind of
Yeah, Nintendo, we always have them as the exception. They're not the rule.
Yeah, right.
They're on their own thing. They could have a single, or not a single, but a first party game, and it outsells everything else. You know what I mean? So they're in a different world.
But with that being said, so what are some third party things that you can't wait for that are announced currently?
Third party is Rise of the Ronin third party. I mean, it is, right? Technically, yeah. That's probably number 1. I'm kind of looking at Helldivers. It looks kind of fun.
Tecmo, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at Helldivers as well. I think that'd be cool for co-op and all that. But this year is kind of interesting. I haven't really looked into, okay, what's got release dates, what doesn't, what's supposed to come this year. I mean, we're living in a time where there's just so many delays and things like that. So I think I got to the point where I'm just sort of not paying attention to every single thing coming out, like I used to be. So I'm just kind of looking at the near future, which is Rise of the Ronin. I know that's going to be my next game. I basically really cover for the channel and stuff. And that's where my mind usually goes. Like, okay, there's games on my mind I'm going to play, but I'm also thinking content all the time. So that's the main game I'm looking forward to right now. Okay. And of course, Elden Ring DLC when that comes. That should be this year too. So,
right. Yeah. I think they actually did they recently have a little trailer for it and whatnot?
No, they haven't. It was supposed to be, well, the rumor was it was going to be at the Game Awards. Didn't happen. And then there was another
Oh, right.
rumor it was going to come out next month. So we're thinking, oh, a trailer could drop any day. And it's been, a few weeks now. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen. But they usually will just drop a trailer and then announce the date. So it could be any day, really.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
around the Game Awards that I thought I seen like maybe a trailer for or whatnot, but it must have been just somebody expecting a trailer.
You probably saw like rumors, or yeah, we all kind of did. And even the big Souls YouTubers were doing videos like, yeah, this could definitely happen. And so I got hyped thinking, okay, because I streamed those events and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be hype on camera, I'm gonna be hype, but it didn't happen. So here we are.
Okay. Before we get into like some of the content creation side of gaming and whatnot and what you do, I'm interested in the development of like studios and stuff like that, and what has kind of happened the last year. And I kind of wanted to wrap up this part of the gaming subject with asking you this: like, what do you kind of think of the future of gaming, seeing that we have seen and heard about AI being a big deal in gaming coming up, all these record breaking titles that are coming out, but at the same time they have a wild number of layoffs,
Yeah.
within the industry and stuff like that. And just kind of the way that you're seeing, and you can say this has happened before, but it's kind of getting to be a big deal again, where you're starting to see a lot of actress and a lot of famous people getting into the games and stuff like that. How do you kind of think the gaming industry is going to change as the future unfolds? Like, where do you think this is all kind of going? And you can go as you can go as left as you want, because this is just an opinion.
Right. Gosh, that's a good question. So you mentioned the AI. I'll be real with
Right.
you. AI kind of scares me a little bit. It kind of scares me because I've seen what it can do. I've seen or I've heard, them using rappers' voices and creating their own rap and their own
Whole
song,
albums and
a
stuff,
whole
right?
album and stuff, and it sounds exactly like them. And then I've
I
seen
heard a Drake
videos.
song and thought it was him, and I then got told it was AI, and I was like, "No way."
I think I heard a clip of that, and then there was a Kanye one I heard too, and it sounded exactly like him. So that was trippy. And then I've seen videos where they take an actor and replace them with a different actor in the scene, and it looks exactly like it was filmed that way. I've seen crazy stuff. And then there's also the thing with voice actors and them losing their jobs, right? Because AI can do that. And then not only that, but there's graphic artists and artists who they're worried they're going to be out of work because these AI, they're just
You
coming
can
out.
generate a picture.
You can generate a picture like that. Yeah. And I see people doing it on their thumbnails. I see people doing it for like graphics on their streams and things like that. And they don't even have to pay anybody anymore. There's no commissions they got to pay for. So that's a trip just on the content creating side of things. But when it comes to gaming, that's where I'm kind of thinking, yeah, you never know. I mean, there could be voice actors, there could be actual people who make or who work on these games and develop these games. Maybe they're not going to be needed as much because AI just starts to slowly kind of take over things. So that's going to be, I don't want to say interesting because I don't want to see people lose their jobs, but it's just going to be something to watch, I think, going forward. And it's only going to get more advanced as we go. And that's kind of, I think, the scary part about it for me anyways. But as far as like gaming going forward, and yeah, people are losing their jobs, and it's kind of a weird time right now. I've been keeping an eye on it. There are people saying that there could be a crash that could happen again, which is wild to think about. So we might
There's so
live
much
through
money
that.
flying around. Y'all talking about a crash?
Yeah, they're because games are just too expensive. You see them losing money all the time. You got games that you think are successful and you find out they didn't really profit that much, and it's wild. You're just like, "Really?" So like Sony games, for example, we've been hearing about them.
Yeah, that
kind of breaking
Insomniac
even,
leak
or
revealed it all.
yes, the leak.
Insomniac came out looking butt naked.
Yeah, so that when you hear things like that and then people start talking about crashes and they start talking about, yeah, this isn't sustainable, this is going to crash, it's going to come to a point where they can't make games this expensive anymore. But gamers expect those graphics, and that's the games that they want. And so it's like, I feel like it, I don't know if this answers the question, but I feel like I'm kind of in the camp where I'll play the most lowest budget indie and love it. I'm all about indies. I'm all about games that are just creative and beautiful and artsy and all that. I have no problem playing those games. But there's other gamers who just will never touch those games with a 10-foot pole. They just cannot stand indies. They don't want to support them. They think they're garbage. And I pity them, but that's their taste, whatever. But I worry that, games like that, they're just so overlooked and they're not supported. So then we don't get sequels, or we don't get to see that developer continue because they have to shut down, or whatever the reason, they don't make enough money, So that's my concern, is that the games I love aren't supported enough. And then I have to see more of this AAA garbage because that's what's profitable, or you know what I mean? Like that's where I'm kind of worried about. But I just hope that those indies and those smaller teams can flourish in this climate. And maybe, yeah, it's going to suck for the AAA developers, and they might lose their jobs, they might lose money, but I really hope that the smaller studios can flourish, if that makes sense.
No. Yeah, it does.
I'm hoping for that. And me, I play a lot of Souls games. I play a lot of From Software games. I follow them, and they're, as far as I know, they're doing well. All their team got a raise when Elden Ring was developed. They are making money. They're doing well. So I'm happy with that. But how long can that go? What if we get to a point where I hear From Software is not profitable anymore? I'm going to be worried. Like, oh, I hope they don't, you know what I mean? I hope they don't have to shut down. We don't know. Like, it's kind of scary in that way. I'm just trying to enjoy right now. And hopefully we just can keep seeing this art continue, because I love gaming, I don't want it to go to hell, if that makes sense.
And see, that's what makes me excited about AI, to be honest, is because we're seeing like a mass, I don't want to say like a mass exodus, because that sounds way more dramatic than I want it to be, but sure, let's go with it. Screw it. So like we're starting to see like a mass amount of people walk away and create their own business, right? And I've said this on a few other episodes before, like Jerry Hook from he used to work at Bungie and 343. He went out and said, "Screw it, I'm making Jar Sparks." The guy from Forza, Mike Brown, he decided to make Maverick Studios. There's a guy that recently left Embracer that's starting his own company. The Ascendant Studios was started by, one of the guys that was, one of the main guys that made Dead Space and worked on a lot of Call of Duties and stuff like that. So we're starting to see these studios be made from the ground up all over again by some of these, well-known individuals within gaming and stuff like that. And we unfortunately then sometimes, even with that happening, like what happened with Ascendant Studios as of recently, they make a big game, spend, their hard-earned money to make it, and then they end up having to release employees soon after the game comes out. And to me, it's like, well, if AI can get more involved, these teams can be smaller and we can get a lot more different content from a lot more different people that are confident to not have to have a team of 150 people or a team of 50 or something like that. It can be literally the 10 people that had the idea of the game, and they could, figure out a bunch of different things and maybe outsource a few different things, and but utilize AI to their benefit to save on costs, but still come out with the quality that they had sought out for. So that's
Interesting.
what kind of makes me excited with AI a little bit, that, maybe we won't have to lean so hard on an EA or something because of AI and the simplicity that it makes it for, somebody that's brilliant but doesn't want a big team.
Got you. Yeah, when you put it that way, and you're talking new teams from the ground up, yeah, I see what you're saying. That is exciting, kind of, to think about. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're right.
absolutely.
Yeah, true. I think I was thinking more like studios that exist already, but I could see
Right.
like it could be like a pro and con, just depending on the situation. But it could really be a good thing, as you point out.
Yeah,
Possible.
in some way, I'd like to think of it as kind of like an evolution dash revolution.
Hmm.
So where it's just like, sure, gaming is evolving, but it's also kind of like people fighting back. We need to get this differently because we're tired of getting screwed over. There has to be some point within this gaming, path where people are just tired of, I want to do this for the rest of my life, but it seems like everybody that's getting into this industry is just running right into a wall. They
I
say
see
like
what
the
you're saying.
average lifespan for a developer that sticks with it's like 7 years. That's crazy. Could you
That's not a long
imagine that
time.
being your career for your life? 7
That's
years of
wild.
gaming, and then I had to switch it up.
That's wild. Yeah, that's not a lot of time. You think 7 years ago was what? 20 It's 2024. That was 2017?
Talk
So
about it.
that's not that long ago. It's really
No.
not. It's insane to think about.
So yeah, I'm just hoping that maybe AI can be a benefit to that. It'll definitely be a detriment to like an EA, a Naughty
Yeah,
Dog, a
definitely.
a Coalition, or any of that, big studios, sure. But the people that we love, know and love, that are like, yo, I was trying to get up out of here anyways to create my own thing. This is like, finally,
They
you
can
have a
do it.
way to kind of get in and not have to feel like you have to drag everybody in EA with you.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I feel you. That's a good way to think about it.
It's a
Yeah.
positive way to think about it. I'm
Positive
not
way.
saying it's a right way to think about it, but it's
Well, a
positive.
positive way. That's a positive. Yes. Interesting. I never thought of it like that. So it's interesting to hear. Yeah.
Right. That's what these conversations are for, right? Just seeing things from a different light.
For
But
sure.
anyways, the next thing I wanted to get into is your content creation.
Yes,
You've been doing that for a hot minute now, right?
I have. Yeah.
And I want you to take me back to when you and maybe a few other people were the only ones following your content. What was it like
Shoot.
for Erica getting off of the ground?
Man. Well, like I talked about, Gears was a big reason. I would see content on YouTube because I would look up something about the game, right? And I came across some people like Gold Glove. I don't know if you've heard of Gold Glove. He was a big YouTuber at the time. He still is. He's still big. But he would record himself playing Gears with the game chat or the party chats going on, and other people were doing that too. And that was just fascinating to me. Like, wow, they actually captured all these moments, these funny moments, rage moments, a lot of Gears, just foolery, right? Because that was how it was. And then that made me want to capture that stuff, especially because of the friends I played with. We would just have these moments like, oh, I wish we could like show that to somebody. I wish I could have recorded that, because then we'd have that forever,
Especially
And
back
that's
in the 360 days. Yes,
oh
because you had
yeah.
no record button. There was no record function.
There was no Xbox record that. Like, you couldn't say that and then it recorded. No, and then even the video captures at the time, like if you think back, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but do you remember back then where it was like the dazzle and the hapag? Do you remember those those video capture cards? I mean, this is
Oh
way
no,
back.
no, I didn't have capture cards or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, we're talking like over 10 years ago, 15 years ago or something. And that's what we had to use to capture. And the video files were huge as hell. So I just remember using my little rinky-dink laptop. I had Gears on the TV, and I would record a match, and I'd have to delete it if it wasn't good because I didn't have enough room in my laptop. So I would just constantly record something, delete it if it was bad. If it was good, I would keep it. And that's how it was. It was very archaic compared to today's standards. Today is just so much more user-friendly and evolved, But back then, I started dabbling with that because, like I said, I just wanted to capture those moments. And sometimes it was just for like my cousins. We would play Call of Duty and something funny would happen. And I would say, oh, I recorded that. I'll send it to you guys. And I wasn't even thinking about an audience. I was thinking about them. Like, oh, I'll just show you guys. So I would put it on my YouTube, send them the link, and then that was it, right? But then what I started noticing is other people were watching it. I'm like, oh, this has like 20 views. Like, what the heck? And so it started to become a reality. Like, okay, other people enjoyed this. I'll do another one, and then another one, and then it just kind of like went from there. This cat's gonna give me trouble right now. Yeah, and so from there, it became, it was Gears clips, Call of Duty clips. Then it became full matches with commentary, and then it became topic videos because a lot of people were doing that at the time. I don't know if you know Miss 5,000 Watts. She was a girl that I watched. A girl gamer that was actually good at games. Because back then, the term girl gamer was a bad one. You were either fake or trying to use your looks to get ahead. And it was that time, right? And girls weren't really taken serious like that. So when I found Watts, and even Miss K, she was back then too. I remember like probably a year or two after that, I remember Miss K, shout out to her. Girls like that who were really gaming for real and really doing this thing. And that's what motivated me to be like, you know what, I can do that. So I started doing topic videos like about being a girl gamer or anything really about the game. Okay, Luna, I'm gonna get her out right now. But that's how it kind of started with that. And it just kind of evolved over time. And I started doing different types of videos. And after Gears, like I said, I was kind of dabbling in other things, but I also went into Bloodborne. And then that was 2015. And ever since then, I've been focusing on Souls content to kind of still share those experiences of either funny moments or moments where I was raging or a boss that gave me a lot of trouble. Let me talk about this. Or better yet, let me help somebody beat this boss. Because after Bloodborne, I started doing Dark Souls 3 content, and I did a couple tutorials how to find some specific item or how to beat this boss. And they did really well. We're talking thousands of views when I never seen anything like that before. I had maybe at most, my average was probably like 150 views, maybe 200 if it was good. A good video for me was like 200 to 300 views. So when I started getting thousands of views, and I was just like, wow, that's insane to me. And I was getting more subs. My sub count was growing. And I think that's when I started to really pull it together. Like, I can do this for real. Like, I think this might be the niche that I need to go with, because the gear stuff is kind of fading out. Call of Duty is not where it used to be. I don't really like doing that content anymore. So when I started doing the Souls content and it was clicking and I was enjoying it, I was getting views. It kind of showed me like, Erica, this is what you should do. This is it. So I've been doing it since. And I'm still learning, man. Like, I still feel like I can get much better. I'm always trying to improve with my editing. I'm trying to improve with the topics, even the titles. Every little thing is so important for a successful video. The thumbnail, I like I was talking about earlier, my thumbnails have really improved. I'm just always trying to get better and better. So that's kind of where the channel is now. I'm fully in this niche, and I don't think I'm going to stop anytime soon. So that's how it all kind of went down. I mean, there's so much more to it, as far as the networking and who I knew at the time, I kind of touched on that. But the more and more that I started to know people, and then I would appear on podcasts, and then I became a member of a podcast, and then people knew me from there. And then it just grew and grew from there on. Right. And then I started becoming friends with, Gaz and Colt and other people who have their shows. And then I would appear on there, and it just, how it goes. It just, you kind of grow and grow. And I still feel like I'm not even close to where I want to be. I still want to grow. That's my that's my motivation right now.
Okay. And then going from that, I'm kind of curious, like, seeing that you've done this for quite some time, I want to know a moment maybe early on where you, Erica, were just kind of like, this feels wrong. I need to change something. Was there a moment early on where you kind of felt like you were going in a wrong direction, and then you recourse?
Oh yeah. I mean, I still sometimes have that feeling like, oh, I should have
What's
went
an
this
early
way.
one that
The
really
video.
kind of reminds you of, man, I made the right? I mean, other than you said the Souls thing was a big deal, right? And that really helped you kind of, oh yeah, I really love these type of games, and I'm getting views at the same time, so that's dope. But in the span of that, was there any time where you were just like, man, like, this habit needs to stop right here? What
The
habit?
habits. Ooh. I don't know if this counts. I have multiple. They'll come to me as I talk, but we were talking thumbnails, right? And there was a time where my co-host at the time, I had this podcast called The Backlog, and shout out to Shar. That's the homie. Completely just, you have that honest friend that tells you what you need to hear. And Shar straight up was like, your thumbnails suck. Like, your thumbnails suck. This isn't that good. This, and they said it in a polite way, but it was something I had to hear. It was something that I really should have heard. This cat, I'm trying to get my husband to let her out. But anyways, okay.
I know my buddy Benny in the chat said the cat has something to say. Hear him out.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was a thing, right? But as far as like me just looking at my own channel, oh yeah, I had moments where I was like, I want to make a change, but I don't know what to do. It was kind of back in those years where people were just kind of throwing things at the wall, trying different topics or different styles. And should I be on camera? Should I not be on camera? Like, what's going on? Because the climate would just change all the time. Standards would change. I knew for sure at one point I was like, my quality of my videos needs to get better. So that's when I built my PC. I put in a nice video capture card. I made the upgrades. I spent money to do things like that. Spent money to make my streams look better. There were times like that where I would look honestly at my content and think, this does not look good enough. This isn't where I want it to be. And I would just sort of do what I had to do just to kind of make those little fixes. But I didn't really know, like, I need to change. It was just more so like, let me try this new thing because maybe it'll be worth it kind of thing. Like, maybe we'll go this direction. And it was never really, I don't know if it was really conscious, but it was more subconscious. Like, I'm not happy with this channel. I need to do something, but I didn't really say that. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then since we're kind of in this dynamic of questions anyways, I might as well just go on ahead and ask, like, was there any times during, you coming out with content and maybe it be big and then, you had a low time? And was there ever any moment where you're like, maybe this isn't for me?
Any low time. I'm gonna let the cat out, and then we ask me again. I'm gonna let the cat out real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give me like 2 seconds.
No. That cat is giving her some trouble. Absolutely. Shout out to Uso Vinny in the chat with a $5 super chat this time, saying Erica is one of the best content creators from the gaming community on Twitter. I got to make sure to read that when she comes back one more time. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but Uso Vinny out here with giving you some flowers right now, saying with a $5 super chat, Erica is one of the best. He meant to say of the best content creators from the gaming community on Twitter. So
thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. Seriously. Thank you. Yeah. So I let her out. I wasn't sure if my son would be there, so I was like, let me just turn the camera off. But anyways, I'm back. Sorry.
Fair enough. No, you're good. You're taking care of your business. You're fine.
Yeah. So the question, repeat it again if you can.
So my question to you was like while you're doing all your content creating, and yes, you've had some ups. I'm sure you've had some downs within content creating as well. Was there ever any times where you felt like, hey, this might not be for me?
Ooh. I definitely had times where I wanted to quit. There was a couple times, but it wasn't because it wasn't for me. It was because I would just get so frustrated with not getting views, or I don't understand YouTube. It's the algorithm. You know, I would blame the algorithm, or I'd blame something about YouTube, because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. And sometimes I still don't. Sometimes I still get, I'll think a video is going to be great and do well, and then it doesn't. And then I try and wrap my head around, okay, what is it? Is it the thumbnail? Is it the title? Is it me? Is it the topic? And so I still have those moments of like, damn, man, I'm frustrated. But as far as it like not being for me, I've always felt this was for me. I love making videos. I love being creative. When I was younger, actually, my uncle, the one we talked about, he showed me a video of him playing Star Fox. He recorded it, right? And he had music on top of it. I was like, how did you do this? This was back in the days of like VCRs. Right. We didn't have this stuff, we didn't have PCs doing this for us. So I remember that moment, like, how did you do that? I want to do that. So I went home, I figured it out. I used 2 VCRs or something. I did this whole thing, and I did a montage. I didn't even realize at the time I did a montage of me playing my Dreamcast that I had at the time, Sonic and other games, and I just put music on top of it and made a montage. So I've always had this desire to like put things together and create and have music. And I love music. I was a DJ at one point. I've been a DJ. So I had that experience of like blending music, cutting music, and I kind of bring that into this now, where I'm putting things together, and I love doing it. So it's never been that it's not for me. It's just been more of like, what am I doing wrong? I'm pissed, YouTube sucks. And I would just get really mad at times. But over time, I just learned to be like, stop it, Erica. You just got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. You got to watch what other people are doing, see what's working for them, especially with like Souls creators. I started to follow them more at like actually watching what they're doing, the thumbnails they're using, stuff like that. So yeah, that's where it's been. But I actually do have a recording. I don't know when I'm going to listen to it, but I recorded myself talking to in the mic a year ago, complaining about YouTube. And I was so mad when I did this. My plan is to listen to this recording if my channel ever pops off, like really pops off. So I'm saving this recording of me being really upset, pissed off at YouTube, saying I want to quit. I have it recorded, and I'm just keeping it there until I have a champagne bottle and like my channel's at crazy sub count, or something like that. So there's been times, man, where I'm like, I'm gonna just record myself because I'm pissed off. I'm gonna quit. But then the next day I always get over it. I always get over it because I love it, man. I just always come back. I'd always come back. Yeah, DJ ERICUTZ, that was my name. Miss K, that was it. That was literally my DJ name, DJ ERICUTZ. So good times.
So now I want to go a little bit back onto the personal part. Like I said, it's not too personal. No,
No, go for
nothing
it.
on
Go
here
for
is
it.
too personal. But like, but in the sense of like family and content creation, right? I kind of want to know, like, have you had to make any sacrifices? What was a family like pretty easy to like maintain and manage? You know, you said you've been doing this for a hot minute, right? So I'm wondering, did you maybe start working on this YouTube stuff before you were even like with the husband now, or with the kid, or having the kid and stuff like that? Obviously, it was before the kid because the kid's
Yeah,
like
yeah. He's
super
only
young.
16 months. Yeah, he's young. He's my only one too. So yeah, I had him in 2022. But yeah, no, I started YouTube. I was already with my husband, but we were not married yet. So we were just boyfriend, girlfriend. And, he was always very supportive, always. There would be times where I'd be editing late and stuff, and he was cool with it. He always supported my channel and stuff. And when we got married, I only really had to adjust because I went back to school around that time. I was trying to complete my degree, so I had to adjust content because of that, studying and stuff, which is obvious. I had to really manage my time. But when it came to him, I think I did a pretty good job of like balancing relationship and my family as well. Family time was always really important to me. I would drop content in a heartbeat if there's like a family get together because I just value it so much. So because of that, and because of being married in 2015, we got married. Yeah, there were times where I had to decide like, okay, there's a family thing going on or there's a date night or something. Yeah, I can't obviously work on content, and that's fine. So I just had to really, really manage my time when I had free time. And I didn't bother too much watching TV. I would use my free time for content. And I still do that. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't really like waste time on stuff like that. Now we have our son, and even more so, I'm really
Yeah, you
focused on
took in your
like,
time.
oh yeah, like, and he's a mama's boy, of course. So when he wants mama, I mean, everything stops. So take that into consideration. And then also being tired from just being a mom. So some days I'm like tired by 7 o'clock. I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm going to sleep. And so what I've managed to do, which is just, I'm very blessed. I'm able to work at home. So when I work at home, it gives me time to work on content at the same time or on my breaks, my lunch. I'll be writing scripts while I'm working. I could really manage my time even better. And honestly, now that I'm a mom, it's so wild because my days off from work are not days off, right? I mean, I'm with the
Right.
kid, I'm with the husband, I'm with the family. Those aren't days. How do I put this? That sounds so bad. That's not what I mean. It's more like I'm still working because I'm a mom, right? My actual days off are when I'm on the clock for work because that's when I'm able to do my content. I'm able to work on thumbnails, do all this other stuff. So I really had to work
That's when
my
things slow down,
time.
is when you actually
Yeah.
have to do some you have a project in front of you, things slow down.
Yeah, yeah, and that's my me time, because I'm working, I'm just alone, and that's when I get it done. Yeah, and then after that, once I'm clocked out of work, okay, it's mom time. I'm back on that. So it's been some work, but I love it. As long as it doesn't stress me out too much, and I usually know when it's about to. I'll be like, okay, I'm tired. This video could wait. I've always been like that. For better or for worse, whether it hurts the channel or not, I prioritize rest. I'm one of those. Like if I'm stressed or I'm feeling a little depressed or something, I'm just going to go take care of that and then I'll come back. So that's always been kind of my mindset. And so it hasn't really been an issue per se, as far as like, I've never had that talk with the husband, like, oh, you're spending too much time on your content. That's never happened because I usually have done a pretty good job at like managing my energy. Yeah.
Okay. And then as for your channel, like I got this question and then one other one before we move on to kind of the quick hitters to get ready to kind of wrap this thing up and get up out of here. But
Mhm.
but one of the main questions I kind of got for you is, um, as you said, you're a content creator and you're doing a lot of soul stuff and whatnot. You'll occasionally do some other things within your channels and whatnot. But I'm curious as to, do you feel like there's anything missing or something that you would like to eventually add to your current channel?
Mm. There's definitely something missing. There's something I've been working on and it hasn't really come to me yet, but I know I need a series. Like I need something that is potentially weekly, like a weekly series that people will come back for. I don't have that. My videos are kind of just whatever I feel like in the moment. So like I'll do my top 10 bosses from Remnant 2. Or I'll do, oh, I feel like talking about Elden Ring because the DLC rumors going on. I'll cover that. And then the next week I'm doing Lies of P. So I'm kind of all over the place with the Souls games and what's good at the moment, but I don't have that series of like something that people know I'm going to do every week. I don't have that. That's the one thing, and I know that's what I need, but it just hasn't came to me what it's going to be. That's
So
the
you're still
one.
putting together that idea of
Trying.
what can I bring that's sustainable over
And
a
I
long period of time?
yeah, and something I won't get tired of either. Something that's yeah, sustainable and I could do it week in, week out. And it's so hard to find that. It's so hard because I don't want to burn myself out, but also that's kind of tough to do when you think about it weekly. And then with my schedule and like how I am with time management, that's the one thing that I'm struggling on. It's like, I know I need that, but I just don't know what to do. Yeah.
Now, I've noticed you do a lot of short videos on
Hmm.
your channel and whatnot. Like, whatever happened to you? Like I know that you. I mean, like you're on the show today. You featured on many of other shows throughout your time as being a content creator. And you've even said that you had shows,
Hmm.
right?
Like a podcast.
So yeah.
Yeah.
W- is the podcasting like something that like you want to get further into, as like because it seems like a lot of people either choose to do videos or they choose to do podcasts. Me in particularly, I've been doing a ton of like these podcasts and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
now I'm starting to see the benefit of doing video, where it's like, hold up a second. I'm kind of no disrespect to anybody out there, but I'm talking to the same people every week. It kind of feels like sometimes. But I've noticed that whenever I do like videos and stuff like that, I get these like people I've never heard of come in and have their 2 cents to say, and then I eventually may see them in the comments section and stuff like that. So I'm starting to see
Yeah.
the benefits of doing that now. Like like I've said, I've seen that you've done podcasting and whatnot. Is that something that you've ever considered doing regularly, or is that something that you just like? I mean, that's a lot of time, and sometimes these things go for like right now, 2-3 hours.
2-3 hours. Yeah.
And you got a kid now and whatnot. I've got a 13-month-old.
Right, right. Yeah, the 3-hour podcast, oh my gosh. There's times where I've been a guest on podcasts and they go long, and
Mhm.
depending on the show, sometimes it flies by, but sometimes they're like, dude, this is way too long. But no, the podcast thing, I'm kind of I don't want to say against it, but I did it for a long time. I was a panel member for a couple years on someone else's show, and then I did the backlog, which was my own show bi-weekly. So it was every other Saturday, right? And that was cool because it wasn't burning me out, but we didn't really grow the way I wanted it to because it was biweekly. I think that hurt us, right? And I was always of the mindset like, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about because when I was on other shows, I had to talk about what they wanted to talk about. Sometimes it was boring to me. It went too long and we never really talked about the things that were important to me. So that motivated me to make the podcast because I wanted to talk about interesting stuff or what I thought was interesting. So I liked doing the podcast for that reason because I was in control. More so, I picked the guests, and then it was fun to do, of course. But the thing with podcasting is sometimes there's just these topics that I don't want to talk about, right? And so I would try and improvise and put my own topic, but then the audience didn't want to hear that. They want to hear the hot topic. They want to hear what I think about, like the ABK thing,
argument or something, or something to yell at.
Console war stuff, or like the thing that everybody was arguing about at the time that I couldn't care less about, right? Because it was sometimes it was like sales, or it was something that I felt was not interesting. So me and my co-host, we were kind of on the same page with that, but we struggled in the sense of growing because I just think people didn't want to hear those topics. So it was tough to me because I wanted it to run it my certain way, but it just wasn't growing the way I wanted. And so I decided, okay, with my schedule being all crazy anyways, and I'm a mom now, we're just going to put the show on hiatus for a bit. Maybe we'll bring it back. So honestly, I haven't really thought to bring it back. I thought of other things like my own personal, maybe a Souls kind of chat weekly or something, but I don't know. I'm still kind of flirting with that idea, but overall, I just kind of like the idea of just doing videos because like you said, podcasting, it can feel like you're talking to the same people, which is not a bad thing. That's the homies.
It's fun talking to the same people. It's just
comfortable, but
when you're trying to grow, it's like,
exactly.
Oh, damn.
it can be rough and it's fun, but yeah, you always have that want, the desire, like I want to grow this thing. I want us to be heard by more people. And it, occasionally a new face would come through and, or a certain guest would be on and then their fans or whatever would come through. But overall, yeah, you're going to get way more of a distribution to many people if you do videos because the algorithm, the topic, the game, like the specific game, you're going to get those fans. And yeah, it's tough. If you're trying to do both, that's tough. I think if anything,
I am, and it's been keeping your boys sleepy. I tell you that much.
It's hard.
And I got a 6-year-old daughter that I'm taking care of, and I got my wife that I gotta keep her happy as well, and she supports me through doing all this stuff like your spouse does for you, right? So it makes it really comfortable and nice, but man, like just trying to think of things to help, stay confident about like, oh man, I really want to put this out, or should I put this out, or am I, or should I stream this, or should I make a video about it? Like, yeah, it's a lot of work trying to do both of them, like videos and live streaming. Like it's hard just doing one of them. Trying to do both of them, it's like, God damn. Trying to find out times when to drop certain things and whatnot, because I do a lot of different shows and stuff like that. So,
right.
So yeah, I feel you.
It's a lot, yeah. And I don't know if you go through this or if this is just a mom thing, but I do sometimes feel guilty if I'm in here too long doing stuff. Because your kids, it wants your attention, and I don't like that feeling. So again, with the whole time management thing, I had to decide, okay, do I want to commit to this podcast and keep this going, or should I use that time to make videos that are going to carry me further, right? So it's kind of, I guess I really came to that decision. Like, I really want this channel to grow, and then maybe in the future, once it's grown enough, we can bring something like that back and have better chances. Yeah, I think that's what I kind of thought to myself.
No doubt. All right. So let's move on, because I do want to get you out of here at a decent time.
Yeah, no worries. This is
But
great. I've been having a good time. So
good. I'm happy to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. The next thing I like to have people do before we leave the subject of content creation is just to pay your respects to those people out there that helped and kind of pushed you into the position that you currently happen to be in content creation. So if you could, throw out some names or some people or some, channels or whatever that really helped push you to become a better content creator, a better person, a better gamer, whatever you got to say. Go on ahead and let it fly, girl.
That's an awesome question. I mentioned before Gold Glove, that was kind of one of the first content creators that got me moving and got like, oh, I want to do that. But people I actually like became friends with definitely have motivated me. And they might not even know it because I should do a better job of telling them, but they've definitely inspired me and motivated me. I know Alex. Alex is he's grown so much on his channel.
Yeah,
I saw his thumbnail. I saw his thumbnails improve, what he's doing as far as entertainment. And even though I don't do that content, I don't do anything like it. I still look at a channel. Yeah, I still look at his channel and think, okay, what is he doing to grow this far and to do this, to grow this much? And so he's inspired me. Even behind the scenes, we've talked about content and YouTube, and
he brought being yourself to a whole new level.
Facts. Yeah. Being just unapologetic, standing on your 2 feet with your opinion. I think he's definitely helped me with that. Because like I said before, I was a little bit reserved in the past. I was a little bit more, I would say my opinions and stuff, but it kind of just stopped there and I wouldn't dive too further into it. But now I'm like, I really don't care what people think of me. I really don't. The whole console war thing, I'll be the first to tell you, you're being an idiot for even going down this path. Can we talk about games? I'm all about games. Like, I just want people to play games. And Alex has definitely, I think, helped me with just being more assertive and being more like, this is what I feel, I'm going to say it kind of thing. He's definitely done that. And there's been others too. Like,
stand on your box and preach.
Yeah. And I want to say Gaz is another one. He's kind of in the same realm of like, he's unapologetically him.
Yeah, no fucks given, right?
And when you see Gaz and you hear his content, it's like, that's Gaz. And I think what I'm seeing and what I'm kind of seeing with the community even, and this isn't to put anyone down at all, I'm not going to even, there's not even no names that come to mind, but there is a thing in the community where people just kind of say what they think people want to hear. And they mimic opinions of others, and they're not really playing the games, but they have an opinion on the game. I don't like that. So when I see someone like Gaz who's actually playing certain games, or like I said, Alex, or there's other examples. I mentioned Gamer23 in the past. He was a big deal too. BG. They are unapologetically themselves, and I love
BG is very unapologetic. I love his content because like sometimes like even the people that follow him, he'll give them the business too. If you come in his space talking sideways or talking funny or just like questioning a decision that he makes, or like questioning his loyalty to like gaming or PlayStation because
Naughty
he calls
Dog
something dog shit, like he will get into that ass. Like, I think it is hilarious. I love
That's
watching
what I'm saying.
his reactions.
Yeah, like I may not always agree with his delivery on some of these things because he goes at it with people. Like he takes it left at times. So I may not be doing all that, but
dangerous.
But just the the attitude of like not caring what people think. I mean, to an extent that, I mean, how should I put it? You don't want to get yourself in trouble or go too crazy with it, but to have that confidence, I think that's something that I see with certain YouTubers, and that motivates me to be myself even more. Because I've always prided myself on being who I am, liking what I like, not liking what I don't like. And I've never lied about anything as far as like games I've beaten, games I love, games I don't like. I've always been straightforward. This is how I feel. And so when I see and meet other gamers like that, other YouTubers who are like that, it's to me, those are the ones that push me to go harder and push me to do more. And then I'll, there's also, big time Souls creators like VOTVidia and Fighting Cowboy, and they don't know me. I follow them. They don't follow me. They're bigger than me. But I look to those guys too in the way of content creation, with their thumbnails, how they deliver a topic, how concise they can be. And that's what I want. I want to be concise. I want to be gripping people like they do. And a lot of people, they give me compliments on my voice, like, oh, you have such a calm voice, and you could be the female VOTVidia, and you're talking Souls, that's so unique. And it's like, yeah, I know, I that's awesome, but I still feel like I want to earn it. You're muted again. So.
I'm sorry. Again, I coughed and had to mute it. But
okay.
I think the mixture between the calm voice that you have and stress of the type of game that you play is a great mixture.
That's cool. That's cool to
because
hear.
It's just like, this person sounds so calm, and I'm so pissed right now because of this game.
Right. Yeah, I've gotten comments like that. They're like, oh, thank you so much. Because, I do the how to beat bosses and tutorials. And they're like, oh, thank you so much. Your voice calmed me down. Or they'll say, your delivery is just so like calm and it relaxed me. And I'll even tell them in the video, like, you can do this. You can do this. I will give them like a affirmation, like, you got this. This guy's not that bad. You can do that. If I can do it, you can do it. So I always kind of give this kind of like confidence builder to them as well. Like, man, this isn't that big of a deal. You got this. And a lot of people have commented saying how much that meant to them, because other tutorials, I guess they don't really do that. They just kind of tell you, oh, this is what you do. But me, I'll actually kind of throw that in there with my voice, I guess. And I am a female. So I think to them, it's kind of like this, wow, okay, like she calmed me down a little bit. It's cool. I mean, so now I've gotten those comments, I lean into it a bit more now. Like, okay, that's maybe my advantage in this genre, in this niche. And I got to maybe use it to my benefit and push myself forward as like, yeah, I'm a female gamer and I play Souls, and maybe that's my ticket to something. I just gotta take advantage, I guess.
No doubt. Yeah. Did you happen to have anybody else that you wanted to throw out there before we move on to this quick hitters?
Oh gosh. I mean, there's I'm gonna be kicking myself later because there's people. There's such great people. My friend, I don't know if he's gonna hear this, Audible. He's a small streamer. I want this guy to grow so much. He's one of my homies. He's one of my best friends on here.
Audible with a W, right?
Yeah. He's awesome.
Audible, yeah.
That's the homie. We talk about content creation all the time. He's been doing more shorts. He's like finding his groove. And it's just so fun for me to see, because I feel like I've helped him, but he's got it, man. You meet people, you're like, you got it. You got the drive, you got the passion. And so his passion from him being, a smaller YouTuber and streamer, it's like reminding me of that passion when you're starting. And like,
right.
And I still feel like I'm living that through him in a sense. So it makes me excited, like when he gets views or his stream does really well. Autumn too. Shout out to Autumn. She's kind of growing on Twitch too. And to see these friends of mine kind of find their own little thing, that's inspiring too. So they don't necessarily even have to be bigger channels than me or anything like that. I love that passion of that they love what they're doing. And it makes me feel, I think, grateful, like, man, they're happy with these views. It reminds me, Erica, you got this many views, like, be thankful, be grateful,
right.
So I love it, man. I love hanging out with people who are just starting too, because they're like fresh and they're inspired. And because sometimes you talk to bigger YouTubers, they're burnt out. They've been doing this a long time. They're kind of just in the motions, and they'll tell me too, like, man, once you start feeding YouTube, they call it the beast. I know Rand, shout out to Rand. He told me that one time. Like, once you start feeding the beast, it's like you're kind of like stuck in it. and you
Yeah.
can easily get
Add it to the
stressed out.
game.
Yeah. And so when I hear things like that, it kind of pulls me back a little bit too. Like, okay, yeah, I don't want to feel like that. Maybe I should just, So I feel it's very beneficial as a YouTuber. Talk to all different likes. Don't just talk to the big YouTubers or just the small. Like, talk to all of them. Become friends with them if you genuinely want to. Like I have, I've made friends with a lot of these people. Colt Eastwood's another one. There's a few where we've talked YouTube stuff, and they're on a much bigger level than me. Like, they're seeing numbers I haven't seen ever, right? And so when I hear the struggles they have and the insecurities maybe they still have,
Right.
it puts it into
Really
perspective.
humanizes it.
Yeah, like we're all the same. We're all in this together. Like, we're all on just different paths, but we're all in the same goal, and it's just
It's really like it's really like getting rich. Like, even though you're balling like crazy, you still have these expectations.
yeah.
Like no matter how good or whatever you have it, you'll always end up giving yourself an expectation of, looking down on yourself because somebody else might have something that you wish you had. Like, maybe you got the money, but you don't have the respect, or maybe you got the respect, but you ain't got the money, or
It's
something
like
like
we
that.
always want
There's
more.
always something, or yeah, you got everything good, you got the respect, you got the money, but you ain't got the girl. Or there's always
There's
like
always
whenever
something.
you acquire something, you always end up searching somewhere through your head and saying, now what am I missing? Now what I'm missing? There's always something
What's
missing.
the
There's
next thing?
always something.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Rand told me at the time. He's like, well, because I remember at the time, I think I was trying to hit a certain amount of subs. I'm like, oh, once I hit that, I'll be good. He's like, no, you won't. You won't, because you're going to want the next one. And here I am. And he was completely right. I'm like, you're right. I hit the 15K. What's next? It's not, I want more. And it's like, sometimes you have to just calm down. Like, okay, remember where you came from. Like, dude, humble yourself. Not humble, but remind yourself that you would have killed for these numbers back then. You would have been so happy with these numbers 10 years ago, or how many years. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. You have to constantly kind of remind yourself. Yeah. It's
Well,
a
it's
trip.
easy to look across the street and see somebody else doing well and being like, man, like,
Mhm.
especially when you see somebody below you and then they rise above you, and you're just like, what are they doing? I've been doing what's going on?
Yeah.
You get down on yourself, right?
It's a competition in a sense. Like, to me, there's healthy competition. I think we could look at those situations and not be jealous. Do whatever you do, don't be jealous, but think of it like, okay, yeah, what are they doing? What did they do that worked? And then maybe I can like do my own version of that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That can be discouraging. Somebody who started much later than you. I've seen it. I've seen channels where they
It
started 2
happens
years
every
ago.
day. So you
It could
can be
happen
mad about it all you
tomorrow.
want, but it literally happens every day.
There's always going to be someone who starts after you and they grow faster. It's just going to happen. But then you got to think about it too. There's somebody looking at you thinking the same thing. What did Erica do? How is she growing this much? When in my mind, I'm like not satisfied, but there's always going to be someone else where I'm doing numbers they would really love, So have you seen the new Dave Chappelle show?
I haven't. You talking about on Netflix, right? The new Netflix.
Dreamer. Yeah. It's
I
called
haven't seen it yet,
Dream.
but I heard it's pretty good, but it's short.
Well, I don't want to spoil too much, but the ending, he gives a really nice message about dreaming, right? Like, we're all dreamers. We all have this dream life that we want to achieve.
Right.
And he said, I'm just paraphrasing, but he said something like, you're living somebody's dream. You don't even realize it, but someone else is looking at your life thinking you're living the dream. Whether it's your family life, your YouTube, your career, money, whatever. What you have and your valuable possessions or your family loving you, whatever the case, like you have a great, your kids, all that, someone else would look at your life and think that's the dream. So I loved hearing that. It really put me in my place like, oh shit, like that's awesome. I needed to hear that because it makes you really put it into perspective, like how lucky you are, I guess, is the message. It's deep. Yeah, it's definitely deep, Delilah. Like it was a good message. I think we all could um, learn that.
No
So
doubt,
it
no
was
doubt.
cool.
No, that was a lovely little end way to end that topic right there. That was phenomenal. Thank you so much,
Oh,
and
thanks.
very inspiring words right there. Whether they're from you or Dave Chappelle himself, like it
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
matter.
yeah.
The message is still the message, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but now moving on to our last set of questions. I like to call these kind of like the quick hitters because these kind
Okay.
of help segue us to the exit of the show. But thank you so much again, Erica, for finding time to come here, spit your bars, talk about your history, family, content creation, your life, and just all that comes with that. Like it's pretty incredible having you here today, and you've been a phenomenal guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you.
but going on into these quick hitter questions, I gotta know. So throughout all the different consoles that you had, what would probably have been the most beloved console?
Oh my gosh, beloved console.
Yeah, one. If you like think Desert Island kind of console.
Oh shoot, like just one that you would have forever kind of thing?
Yeah, one with
You
all
had
the
to pick one.
games and everything that you could,
Damn.
keep good.
I feel like it's kind of a loaded question, or maybe I'm making it loaded because I'm thinking, well, the time period they came out, it's different than now. So when you put it that way with like the Desert Island, I'm thinking, well, would I take a retro console? Because
I want you to keep in
it's
mind internet
different.
works at this desert island.
Yeah,
Servers
I'm
are up
assuming.
for everything. What do you
I'm
think?
assuming. Because I think of it in the way of like, well, if I could go back to that time period, like the 360, and like the Super Nintendo back then. But would I be cool with it now? Just only the Super Nintendo? It's kind of a tough question to answer. But if we're talking just pure taking over my life and the most beloved, I mean, gosh, there's so many. Like, I want to say the N64 comes to mind because that was my first console I owned. And that was my own. And that really was important to me. It was awesome. But then I think the 360, I even think the PS4, like the PS4 last gen was amazing to me. I know some people, I remember they would say, oh, it's not the best PlayStation. It's not that great. It's this and that. I loved the PS4. Like I absolutely loved it. So that's a tough question. I guess if I can go back in time to that period, maybe the 360 and the Gears days and how it was. But then we'd have no souls. So I don't know. It's hard. It's tough. But then maybe I could play Dark Souls 1 and start from there and you know what I mean? So it ain't all bad. It's not all bad. Yeah. That's a tough question though.
All right. So it's stuck between the 360 and the PS4 is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I think just because, you know why? It just really revitalized my love for gaming because I loved it as a kid. But during the I'll just say this real quick. During the generation of the first Xbox, I wasn't really gaming that much. PS2, Xbox, I wasn't gaming as much because I was working, I was growing up, going out, doing stuff like that. So when I saw Gears and got the 360, it's like it brought me back to where I should be. It kept me home. It made me grow up a little bit and like take life a little bit more serious. I went back to school. I started this channel and then I started doing something.
My next question.
What's that?
I was going to ask you what was one of the most memorable moment in your gaming, and it sounds like you're kind of talking about it right now of how it kind of re-steered some of your life.
It definitely did. I mean, there's other factors too, like my husband and stuff like that, and just me realizing, hey, I need to do something with my career. It was a lot of things going on in my life. But yeah, gaming, I think, definitely made it easier because it gave me something to do. It gave me something to have as a hobby. And then when I started content creating, it grew even more so. The love, the passion that I had before, it just kind of like gave it a boost, like a huge boost. Yeah. Shout out to BitCloud. I see BitCloud.
Yeah, shout
What's
out to
up, Bit?
BitCloud.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, all right. So moving on to the to the next question, I guess, more or less. Since you pretty much answered the next one.
I talk a lot. I can talk a lot, so I apologize. I get
you're good.
I get ahead of myself, but go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. That was natural, so there's nothing I could have did about that. There's nothing you could have did. It's fine. But I need to know now, what's a genre or type of game that you just hate? Like you're just like I don't care about this. I don't ever want to hear about it. Don't offer me this game. If you offer it, you wasted your money. Like, what's one of the genres for you that you're just like, when you see it, it's just gross? Not for you.
Oh man, I don't know. Is there something that does that to me?
If I asked you to turn on Madden, what would you say?
Honestly, it wouldn't be that bad. I've played Madden before. I used to be really into Madden. I played it on the Wii, of all places. You had to throw like that with the controller. I played Madden.
What happened if me and my wife came to your house and seen you and your husband knocked on the door and was like, "We got this dance pad right here.
Oh,
let's
okay.
make a revolution." I mean,
that'd be
about my house.
That'd be a good time. Get some drinks, do some dancing. I wouldn't mind that. That's more like party stuff. I used to do that stuff, the rock band stuff. We did all that. The one thing that did come to my mind was Smash. I am not a fan of Smash and like fighting games in general. I used to play them when I was younger, and I'm not going to say like I hate them. They look cool at times. I thought the new Street Fighter looks awesome. I'm like, oh, that's cool for the fans. Right. But for me, I just don't do fighting games because I don't have that kind of drive and time to even get better at them. I would just button mash. Like, I don't even know. And I've played Smash before. I love the first Smash. I know that's not the same as like Street Fighter, but when it comes to like fighting games, and I don't know, they just kind of fell off for me. After, I think it was the Smash that was on GameCube, I just kind of let it go. Melee or whatever. Yeah, I let it go after that. And I just don't really play it anymore. And a lot of people tease me about it. They're like, Erica, when are you going to play Smash? I'm like, never. I don't like Smash. So yeah, that's probably the one thing. Every time Smash announces a new character, I'm like, I could not care less. Like, Erica, what if it's a character you like? I'm like, I don't care. They announced Joker for Persona 5. I love Persona 5. They announced him on Smash. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not playing. So yeah, I think that would be the one where I'd like have verbally been disgusted. Like, I don't want to play this.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. We found it.
That's probably the one.
She was unsure, but we found what makes her sick. And it's some fighting games, especially Smash. Gotcha.
Yeah. If this was, I was just going to say, if this was like 5 or plus years ago, and I probably would have said something like turn-based games, but now I love them. There's genres I've grown to love, and
oh man, talk about it, because as you were saying, Persona, like before I got into Persona, if you asked me about a turn-based game, I was like, you better be talking about Fractured Butthole or fucking Stick of Truth or something like that, because I'm not playing a turn-based game. And then Persona came along, and I'm gonna be honest, Persona came to because I played like a touch of it on PS5 because it was in the catalog, right? The PlayStation Plus, and I didn't really vibe with it. And then it came out to Game Pass, and I'm an Xbox guy. I'm playing on Xbox all the time, right? And but the catch was, for the one that came to Xbox, was that it was a new enhanced version, right? There's the SX version or whatnot. So I was just like, I gave this like 5 minutes on the PlayStation. It wasn't like the story was interesting, but I'm not into turn-based.
Yeah.
Man, I ended up playing a little bit more. Story got way more interesting. And it's like the turn-based, like I didn't even realize I was playing a turn-based game anymore because I was so
Yeah.
involved in the story.
It's really
Right?
good. It's
So then I ended up telling myself, I don't hate turn-based games. I just hate boring turn-based.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
feel
that definitely
you.
changed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm more open to them now. Like I said, I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, and then I've played games like Fire Emblem, XCOM type styles. I just grew to love them over time. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so now I need to know, what are the best 3 games, whether they've came out recently or not. What are the best 3 games that you played in the last year?
Oh, dang. In the last year. Okay, I'm replaying Hollow Knight, like I said. Hollow Knight is freaking amazing. It's a beautiful game. I beat Remnant 2. I think Remnant 2, I think this is one of your questions. I think that's my game of the year, Remnant 2. So definitely play that. That's a good one.
Over Lies of P, huh?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe the shooting, the third person action, the guns are awesome, satisfying. I don't know.
I
I
do
just
think it's crazy just because of how much you love Bloodborne and how much people compare Lies of P to a Bloodborne.
yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that the shooter version of a Souls-like is more your jam this year.
Yeah. But when you think about it, because yeah, I was thinking about it too. What the heck? Why would I pick this over Liza P? I think what gets me on Remnant to love it as much as I do is it's kind of like it reminds me of Gears. Like that third person shooter. Yeah, we're not really taking cover. It's not the same. But when you blend kind of that experience and then with Souls and whatever else they do in that game that's different, it does it for me. I think that's what it is. I think it's that shooter, like that third person shooter that I always love. I think that's what does it. Because Liza P is awesome.
A lot of blood, lot
Uh,
of like heavy running and stuff like that. That kind of reminds you of Gears. Like it feels like your character is a little extra heavy in that game than in
It
a lot of other
does.
games that you're running and gunning.
And not only that, but it's the management of like your ammo and picking up ammo. And
That's a very
it's
Gears thing.
it's a very Gears thing. And it's funny because it could be a complaint, but it's what adds to the game's challenge. It's really what adds to what makes it addictive in a sense, because it's not easy. It's a challenging game. So yeah, running out of ammo, managing your mods and your abilities, and then rolling, and then trying to avoid, and then manage your stamina. It's a lot going on, and shooting with precision. So I mean, it's a lot of challenge there. Yeah, Lies of P. Yeah, it's great, but it's like a Bloodborne game, which is good. I love Lies of P. That'd probably be my third pick. If we're talking just 3 games from last year or that I played, and amazing game. But I just think I enjoyed Remnant 2 more.
Yeah, I feel like I could understand that, especially seeing that. I don't know. I feel like you like Remnant for its kind of originality a little bit more than what Liza P kind of did with. Sure, it has its own originality with Pinocchio and stuff like that, but then you go to, oh, it reminds me of Bloodborne, and it just doesn't add up to
Mm.
that. So like
Mhm.
it's kind of a second place player already in the mind.
Got you. Like the comparison's just there. So
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So
Makes sense.
I feel like I know the answer to this next question, and I almost feel silly for asking, but just in case I'm surprised, because I've been surprised several times from asking people this question. What is your favorite? I feel silly. What
I
What's
think I
your
know what you're
favorite
asking.
developer, and what game best represents
I saw that on the list. I'm like, yeah, no one's
Yeah,
gonna be surprised with my answer. It's of course From Software. I mean, like,
yeah,
who are we kidding? If this was 10 years ago, I mean, I'd probably have a different answer. But right now, I mean, From Software is just the top of the top. And people will argue with me and stuff like that, but I try and tell them like just look at their resume and how many games they've released since Bloodborne, for example, or Dark Souls 2, the Sin of the Scholar or Solar, I forgot what it's called. But since then, they've put out games nonstop. They put out Sekiro, which is completely different than the Souls game. It's not even a Souls game. They put out Elden Ring, which is an open world Souls game, and they've really showed that they get down. Like they just get down and they're all good. You know, there's developers out there that are putting out games consistently, but are they all bangers? I mean, that's hard to find, you know, and I just feel like From
yeah.
Software is the top. I
Yeah,
would say
from historic to brand new IPs. I mean, you got brand new IP Elden Ring that was hot, and then this year, I mean, they just had Armored Core come out, which came to
exactly.
get a really good reception, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't no Elden Ring, but it had the reception that was very positive for it, and it was a great seller.
Reviewed well, and it was just a good solid game. Yeah. And then as far as like the game that would, what was it, represents them the
Best
best?
represents that studio.
Dude, part of me wants to say Elden Ring because I mean they took everything they learned from the other games and brought it into an open world, and it just represents how what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. But it just represents how good they are and how much I cannot think. It starts with an A.
Well, I thought you were thinking versatility.
Versatility is a good word too. That's a good word. Yeah, that maybe that's a better word. Yeah, I'll go with that. It does show that, but it is kind of a one-off at the same time because it is their only like open world game like that, right? So for me, I feel like the answer, what I first thought was Dark Souls 3, because Dark Souls 3 took everything from the first two Souls games, in my opinion, made it better, and the bosses are arguably the best in that game. Design wise, everything. I just feel like that game is just peak From Software. Some people will say Sekiro is, but I think Dark Souls 3 it's my favorite. So to me, I look at Dark Souls 3 as like, that's From Software. For sure. Yeah.
Dang, I almost agreed with you because you're gonna say Elden Ring, and I was gonna agree with that because it's just like I've never seen so many people wanting to get their ass whooped. Like,
Yeah,
real.
it did appeal to the masses more so. And then they got into it and they're like, what the heck? What
But
did I
it's
get
good to
myself
hear.
into?
It's good to hear your opinion though, because you play all sorts of different from soft games, right? So you
Yeah.
would know best, like what feels like they were like just
Like
home run derby.
firing on
And,
all
and yeah,
cylinders.
you're
Yeah.
saying Dark Souls 3 is it.
Yeah, because I think when it comes to the other games, if I were to like nitpick and find what's wrong with them and be, objective, I think I would find more with the other games than Dark Souls 3. Like to me, Dark Souls 3 doesn't have many negatives, and it really shows From Software at its best. Yeah, I would
Fair
say.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are so I already asked you this game, and you said that you would think about it for a little bit. But here it comes back up on the questions. What games are you most excited for
Oh.
coming third party, and
I was supposed to
why?
think about that. I forgot.
Yeah, you gotta think about that. That cat
Yeah,
was
we've been
letting you
talking.
know something else.
We talked about so many things tonight, man. Okay, so we did talk Hollow Knight, right? And Silk
Mm-hmm.
Song. We need
Silk Song.
Silk Song. So absolutely, we need that. And then I did mention Rise of the Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
Other third party. Honestly, I don't know what the hell is coming out. Like I said, there's just a lot of games that don't have release dates or they're
Hey,
rumored.
hey, time out. How
What's up?
are you interested at all in that Black Myth?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, that's a good one. Black Myth, and then that other one, the Berserk game. I'll say that. Those two.
Okay.
Those two. My mind was blank. But yeah, those and Black Myth actually has a release date. So there you go.
Yeah, I think isn't it
Yeah.
August?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That looks like it's right up your alley.
For sure. It's so weird with that game though, because like I kind of forget about it. I mean, clearly, I wasn't even. I just forget about it, and then when I'm reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna be all up on that game. But I just, for whatever reason, it just goes to the back of my mind. Like I just forget about it. It's weird.
Feels like they've been saying that game's coming out for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I felt like it was going down the route of like Lost Soul Aside. Remember that game? That game still hasn't come out, and they were talking about it forever. And to me, I thought Wukong was gonna like be that game. Like, oh, it's gonna never come out. They're just talking about it right now, but now it's coming out. So yeah, I have to remember. Like, don't forget this game. Yeah,
I don't think you will. I think around that time it'll be all over the place, and you'll be
yeah,
super
of
stoked
course.
to be
Yeah,
able
I'll
to
be
play that
hyped.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now this is one of my favorite questions to ask people every time I have an episode. But what are 2 games that are completely dead IPs that you'd revive and give big budgets to remake,
Oh damn,
or
dead
make a sequel from?
dead IPs. Right now, I was thinking about. I was almost gonna say this. Like, I hope this happens someday, and that's a new Ori because I know they're having issues with that studio, right? Like, there's something going on there. At least that's what I've heard. So I think the
Moon?
future, yeah, Moon, Moon Studios. So I think the future for them has been a little weird. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody corrects me, but I would like a new Ori. That would be awesome. I don't know if it's needed, but I would appreciate it. We need Silk Song, like I said. But as far as like dead IPs, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I always wanted a sequel for Rise. We never got that.
Mm,
I was a fan
that'd
of
be hot.
Rise. Yeah, and that would be cool, but it doesn't seem like it's happening. So I would say Rise would be cool. Other than that, I mean, I'm getting a new Gears. That's gonna happen. Um, Honestly, I don't know. I think that's my only answer that I could think of, anyways.
Interesting. Usually people have a list of games that they want to bring
Yeah,
back.
I guess because I tend to look forward. I don't really hang up on the past too much. Like, people want a banjo really bad, and I
Right.
loved banjo. I loved it growing up. That was one of my favorite N64 games,
You think you
and
play it now?
I would play it definitely, especially if it's on Game Pass. I would check it out, but I'm not clamoring for it. Like, oh, we need this or Xbox needs this. I feel like it's not gonna do so hot if it comes out, as far as like
Interesting.
mind share. And I tweeted about this before, and people did not agree with me. But I was basically saying, like, I don't think it's gonna do very well. Like, it's not gonna sell well. It might
Kids
not get
games are
support.
different than back when we were young, Like
Yeah.
kids games are much more simplistic and quick
Hmm.
than the games that we used to play, like Spyro. That would take us, like we'd be playing that all year or something
True.
like that. Now it's like a game in a game, like Roblox or something like that,
Hmm.
right? Where it's just like, I'm playing this, but I don't really need to pay attention, and it's super simple and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, Compared to like a studio or something like that spending an extravagant amount on a budget to make the story make sense just for kids to end up playing Fortnite instead.
Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
can
And
totally see what you mean.
maybe that's where it comes from, and where I'm thinking they're just gonna play Fortnite or they're just gonna play something else. They ain't gonna really play this game. It's not what it used to be back when we were kids, like you said. It's different. But I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I hope I'm
Well, I'm
wrong.
wondering how kids' games are even going to come out anymore, because I feel like to get a kid's attention and make it super simple for them to want to sit there and play and understand, like My daughter called herself playing a video game earlier, and all she did the entire time of playing the video game was just hang out in the character customization. Put, pretty hair on it and then talk about how pretty the hair was. And,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
daddy, look, I made a guy now and look at his hair. It's goofy. And
yeah.
that is it. She never made it out of the customization area and just left and just walked out and went and decided to play with her friend across the street. So I'm just like,
Wow.
you didn't even play the game. You just played character customization and then just left.
Yeah, it's so different because we didn't have that growing up too much. Like the customers, not like it is now. No way. So yeah, it's just very different. But really, when it comes down to it, how I feel, and this kind of ties in with the banjo thing, I would much rather Nintendo have banjo. Like I think it would do really well if Nintendo made the game or owned it, I should say, and whoever, Rare makes it. I don't know. It's just Nintendo does it right. They know how to make games for kids, and they make ones for every generation. Yeah, I'm so excited to play Nintendo games with my son because I know Nintendo's gonna do their thing. They're gonna be good. Like they're gonna show him those moments like I had when I was younger. They're gonna and sometimes people give Nintendo flack for that. I used to when I wasn't a parent, but now I'm a parent, and now I value Nintendo. I think I'm glad they're still doing Mario. I'm glad they're still doing the same thing, right? Quote unquote, same thing, because I want my son to experience that stuff. It's solid. It's going to give him that feeling like I had. So,
yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of weird thinking because PlayStation couldn't even figure out really what to do with like a character like Crash, right?
yeah.
Now Xbox has Crash, they got Banjo, they got Conquer, they got some pretty relevant names when it comes to kid like games. Not saying Conquer is completely a kid game.
Anything but kid. that game was wild.
Like game. It's just interesting to see like how the heck are they gonna use that IP or are they gonna even use it at all? Because like I just don't understand how they're gonna manage to make something like Nintendo can. And like Sony can't do it, Xbox hasn't and doesn't seem to want to do it, and I'm not sure if they can do it either. So I don't know. I just don't know. Seems like PlayStation's really moving on to like making everything into a movie.
Unfortunately.
So maybe that might be a way to get into kids more is like get into like making kids games and stuff like that more is like maybe like make a Ratchet and Clank movie and I don't know. I feel like just that game though by itself, like if I were to hand that game to my daughter, she wouldn't know what the hell.
Maybe that it kind of dawned on me as you're talking. I was going to say maybe the problem is with Sony and Xbox is that they're trying to make a kid game for everyone. And maybe that's the problem. Like when you think about Nintendo, their games are for everyone. Like they're fun for adults, but their primary audience is the younger generation. So I wonder if that's really what it is. Like that's the secret and why their games just continue to do well,
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about.
It's definitely something to think about for sure and something to look out for because I mean, you got a little one, I got a little one, and I'm really interested in how gaming is going to evolve around them as well, right?
Oh yeah, that's why I look at Nintendo and it's like I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get those games for him. It's just they're not going to change. But if I was thinking just Sony and Xbox, I'd be kind of like worried, like I don't know what he's going to play over there. Like we'll see. When he's older, yeah, but as a kid. I don't know. Fortnite. You just end up on Fortnite. You know what I mean? So with Nintendo, you got so many choices, so many games that would appeal to him. I can't wait. You said your daughter's how old?
6.
6. Oh, that's the sweet spot. That's the time they start gaming. I started at
Yes.
5. Yeah. So I'm thinking like when he's maybe 4, 3, 4, I'm gonna start, introducing stuff. I'm excited for it. I'm not trying to rush it because time is going way too fast. I'm enjoying where he's at now, but I do think about gaming with him, and it's awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, she beat
wait.
Peppa Pig. She likes Roblox, but I don't like to let her play that too much because there's just so many microtransactions and crap in that. Power Rangers, she played the hell out of that game, the fighting version of it.
Okay.
And she likes retro games a lot. So like a lot of these like retro consoles and stuff I have, like the 64. She likes playing the old school Spider-Man with the red cartridge. She likes to play
Nice.
that. The Sega, the old school PlayStation with the old Barbie games and stuff like that. They used to come
That's
out
how
for
you do
those.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her in from the grassroots and try to figure out
That's
if she's
awesome.
really going to be into this stuff. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I have the SNES Mini. Just waiting for my son. Like it's just there. I'm like, that's his. I think I'm gonna give that to him like on his birthday when he's like 4 or something. Like I'm just holding it like this. I want him to start like that.
Thing is indestructible.
Yeah. So I'm with you. Like from the roots and like what we kind of grew up on. I want to introduce that too. But at the same time, I mean, I don't want to deprive him from the new stuff. So that's where I know Nintendo is gonna like give that. The new thing, it's new, but it's also classic,
Yeah, just be sure, like, get a protective case if you can for that Switch. My daughter has my second Switch, and she already lost one set of Joy-Cons already once, and she's just rough on that thing. But she brings it with her everywhere. That Switch is like, she loves the Switch. So yeah, I'm definitely with you on the whole Nintendo train. For sure.
Yeah. Becoming a parent changed my mind on a lot of things with Nintendo.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
We're down to our last 2 questions, our final 2 questions. I like to kind of smush them together because one's positive, one's a negative. Okay. So let's do the negative one first because I don't like to end the show negative.
Okay.
So what about gaming in general, any part of it whatsoever, frustrates you, Erica?
I did see this in the list. I was like, what am I going to answer for this? Gaming, or do you mean the community?
Any part of gaming, it's up to you.
Well, like the obvious answer is like console wars and stuff like that. And like I was saying before, I want to hear passion from people playing games. And I think we're in a social climate, I guess, for lack of better words, but where that's not important to a lot of people to talk about it in that way. It's more so important to talk about the politics or the drama or what studio is buying who and do exclusives matter? And these topics, they can be interesting at times. And I understand that's part of conversation and all that. But when we forget games and like we're not really talking games, that's where it kind of bothers me. And I just feel like we don't have enough of that. And so when I talk to someone like you or like the YouTubers I mentioned, where we're actually playing games and talking about the games we're playing, that's what I want to see more of in 2024. I know it's probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's all about views at the end of the day, right? And people are going to do what they got to do, which I'm not hating. Everyone's going to do their own thing. But I do get frustrated as a gamer because it can feel lonely at times, because I feel like, well, I'm just here. I want to talk about these games, but you guys don't want to talk about this. So I'm just going to save it for my channel. Or, it gets to the point where sometimes I get bored because that's all I see is the politics or, people talking about games they don't play. And that bores me. That's not interesting to me. I'd rather hear from somebody who did play the game. So maybe that's my issue. I got to find those people. I got to find more. Maybe that's what it is. They're out there. But I think that's what frustrates me is that day-to-day fighting over things that don't matter, and that's where I get frustrated, I guess.
No, I feel that because like it's cool to like crack some jokes every once in a while, but you're building that empire just to talk shit, like only
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of shit just kind of gets annoying. And I wonder to myself sometimes, I'm like, because sometimes I sometimes I joke around, sometimes I say something that some people may not love or something like that, and it's whatever. But at the same time, I'm also always posting like my gameplay stuff that I'm doing.
Mhm,
There's
mhm.
some people, I swear, all they ever post is just hate, just disrespect,
Yeah,
anger, frustration, and the closest to gameplay they're showing is AI generated photos of making fun of the other side, and I'm just like, you are
exactly.
playing more AI generation than you are playing any
Yeah.
of these games that your side supposedly has. So I mean,
Right, right. It's frustrating. Like, I get it. It's one of those things. It's like I get why they do it. They want engagement. It becomes maybe an addiction at some point. They just want to be in the right. They want to prove the other person wrong, and it just becomes a thing. But see, I guess maybe because I'm older and I don't really care what people think, right? We talked about that earlier. I don't care what people think. So I'm not going to be there all day trying to prove, well, this game's better than your game because, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So I think that's what frustrates me. And on the pettier side of things, when those people do get the views, right? We talked about this of the whole seeing them get views and you don't because you are talking games, but they're talking drama, so they're going to get views. And that
yeah,
could be
'cause misery loves
frustrating.
company, right?
Right.
Or
And that
company loves misery. Better yet.
right. And it's like you get it, you understand it. Obviously, like that's going to get views more than me talking about, I don't know, just something random with Souls games. Like it makes sense, but at the same time, it can get frustrating. So I just try and ignore it and just remind myself I'm doing good. That's how it goes. And I know a lot of people suffer with that too. Like they see what I see and they probably it get discouraged, but if you're like that, you do feel that, just keep going. Keep going, do your thing. Stick to gaming. I feel like it's way more worth it when you do grow because you grew how you wanted to grow,
Right.
not with drama, not with console wars and stuff. Especially if you don't want to do that, but you're just kind of doing it to fit in. Don't. Just do what you want to do because it's way more worth it when you actually like when I first got those views on Dark Souls 3 and I was like, "Oh my gosh, way more worth it." You know?
That's
Yeah.
excellent advice right there because I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I find myself in that, and I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing this for? Why am I going out of my way to piss people off? I need to stop this. This is trash."
Hey, don't get me wrong. I indulge some from time to time. I got time sometimes, and sometimes you want to throw a joke. Trust me, I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, we all do it. It's just I would like to see the gaming, kind of. I want to see more gaming than that, I guess.
No doubt, no doubt. All right,
Yeah.
and then the other side of that question, the positive side of it, what would be a dream come true to you in the world of gaming? And
Oh, damn.
can be you yourself can be selfish with this one. So you don't have to include everybody and everything. You can say, you know what? I want to be, queen of YouTube. I want to have all
Shoot.
this shit. Like what do you want in gaming? What would be a dream come true for Erica?
Oh man, on the selfish side, I'll start with that. I want to get review copies for From Software games. That's my goal. Like I tried really hard with Elden Ring, did not succeed. And I've grown to be friends with people who did get copies and I've tried my best to go through them, didn't work. So I'm small time. I want to get to the level where I don't have to be the best or the biggest. I don't want that stress. I just want to be at a comfortable growth where I'm recognized as one of the top Souls people to give their games to. And I do get indie games, but I would like to, if I can get a From Software game or something like Wukong or something like that, that would tell me like I'm doing it. Like that's the goal, I think, to be recognized by them as they want me to review their games. I think that's what I want. But gaming in general and for everyone too, I don't know, man. I just want good games. I want how about this? This just came to mind. How about the Game Awards get better? Jeff Keighley's awards get better. I think that would benefit all of us if we had a really solid show on that kind of level where everything gets recognized. They get longer than 30 seconds to talk, like a real legit gaming show, I think would be awesome. Like something we really look forward to, because we don't have E3 anymore, right? We don't have that. We have the other Jeff Keighley show and stuff. But I think when we look forward to events like that, it's exciting. And when it pays off and it's actually good, I think we just need that to like be better, I think. Represent the year better. I think that'd be cool.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That ain't bad. I like your selfish one a lot. And I hope that does happen for you. Because it'd be really cool. It'd be really cool to have like, you finally get that, Gunfire Games looking at you or something like that. And,
the next Remnant.
You get Remnant 3, and you get to showcase it and talk about it. And, maybe you can't talk about it before it actually launches, but like, you're like one of the first people to be able to drop a video on it that everybody can come see. And you're part of that that hot moment of when a game comes out and people are all looking for the reviews and the thoughts and all that stuff. I'm sure you would like to be there, day zero on a game before day one.
Hell yeah. And
have a whole video written out and everything.
And even more so, I want them to come to me. Not me requesting. If I get the email straight from their PR, from software or somebody, that's the day. Like that's the day. Because I've got it for smaller titles and that's made my day big time. Like I don't take it for granted, the little ones, the littler games. But to get something on that level, and they reached out to me, yeah, my head's gonna be like, nah, but in a good way. I want to stay the same. You could probably comment on this too. Like, let's say we do get big as we want, right? Sure. I always want to know, and I think I will do this. I just want to stay the same person, and just be as I am now, but just more well-known, I guess, and more successful on the channel, and just be myself. That's another thing I want.
That's easier said than done too, because people get these contracts or these offers, and sometimes it just doesn't work the way you want. You end up your friend that was super dope yesterday ends up being an asshole or an asshat or something like that. Shit happens. So yeah, the best thing that you could do is just hope to be the same.
Yeah, I think I would. Would you? I think you got a good vibe. How would you handle it?
I'm a very simple person. I like to just bullshit, have a good time, and I don't really care. At the end of the day, as long as I'm able to eat, my wife's good, my kid's good, I don't really care. So like, I definitely have more money now than I've ever had, and I still feel like that I'm the exact same person. And getting more views and stuff like that, I don't think that'd really make more of a difference or anything. Because I've been on shows that have thousands of people watching, and or not thousands, but like 1,200 people watching and stuff like that. And I didn't feel the need to change how I act to be on their show. So I don't see that being necessary once I have a ton more subscribers or something like that. I feel like that's if people are coming here and I got all the subscribers from being that way, then I should probably remain that way.
Exactly. Yeah. stay true to what you were because that's what they subbed for. So why
Exactly. I'm
change
too
it?
simple of
Yeah.
a person. I mean, it's a detriment sometimes, but for the most part, I feel like the simpleness to me is what makes me reliable to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. I think I've been told the same, like, "Oh, I come to you because I know you're gonna be honest," and, I get those comments, which far is way better than getting a comment that says the opposite. I mean, of course, you wanna be authentic and genuine and all that. I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any haters or somebody you wanna prove wrong with your channel? Like, is that a
Haters.
motivation?
Um, I don't really think I have any haters per se, which I mean, maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe that just means I'm not big enough yet. I don't think I really have any
You'll get
haters.
them eventually.
Um, I don't think like if I were to like say somebody that I don't think like likes me, or is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like
I,
maybe somebody who's doubted you or your channel or talk shit on you, anything like that.
um, I've had several PlayStation and even Xbox fans doubt my ability to be honest. They think that I
Mhm.
kind of ride the center too much just because of the type of channel that I have, that I'm welcoming having PlayStation people come on no matter who they are. Like sometimes when I have, like, for instance, when I had Strictly on here, I had
Okay, yeah.
Strictly on here. David, he goes by
Mhm.
David G on his Twitter now. Good dude, real good dude. But I had him on here, and I'm a pony that week. That week I'm a pony, right?
Aw.
Even though I tell everybody, I'm more into Xbox than anything else, but like it's just the fact that I have somebody on here from the other side, I'm a fraud,
That's so
right?
wild. Yeah,
So so
that's
so
so
so, so,
wild.
so so I've had that a lot of different times, and also I've had people question me being genuine, like the way I'm
Mhm.
acting right now, thinking that that's not who I really am. Which I'm just
Right.
like, if you ask anybody that knows me, they'd say maybe I'm slightly more boring when I'm not on camera. So like, this is what you get. This is what you get when it comes to me. I'm I can be kind of fun, but at the same time, I'm very kind of, sometimes to my own detriment, kind of basic, and I'm not mad about it. And like, I don't shy away from it. I like talking to people. I like understanding people, and some people just don't buy it. I've had
Mm.
people on this show that ended up blocking me because who I be-
Who you
because they didn't.
associate with?
What's that?
Like, who you associate with? It bothers them or
It's
something?
who I associate with, or yeah, we're cool, but it felt like they were almost pretending to be cool with me, because I tell them straight up whenever they come on the show, like, yeah, I'm more of an Xbox guy, and then a PlayStation. Then I, crack maybe some jokes on Twitter or something like that, and then they're just like, "Oh, now you're being an Xbox fanboy. You don't really like PlayStation or any of that
Mm.
stuff." And it's just like, I like it, but I'm gonna joke about it if I find something funny, or if I find something interesting or wild, or if you guys are consistently saying something, and then you like you, oh, Xbox has no games, or Xbox games are dog shit, and then I end up seeing you playing Xbox games all the time, and you're mad I'm calling you out.
Uh-huh.
Like, and usually I'm not even calling people out. I'm just like, just saying something like, "Hey, I've noticed a
Just
lot of
bringing it to
people
their
that said
attention.
they don't want that they don't like these games, are are all of a sudden begging for these games." Like,
Mm.
oh, now I'm a terrible person or something. So I don't know. I try not to listen to it too much. One person that recently blocked me, I don't care. I'll go on ahead and flat out say, this is my channel. I do what the fuck I want to do. one person that recently blocked me that made me kind of scratch my head was Jay Bari.
Okay.
Because like I had him on this show.
Wow.
And then I don't know. And if you know Jay Bari, that man be trolling sometimes about Xbox. So I was wondering why he had blocked me. And especially after being on the show. And I'm wondering maybe is it because I talk about Xbox Live? And then I'm thinking, but that's his whole shtick. Is talking about PlayStation and then how bad Xbox is. So I just don't understand the people in this community, and then I don't understand what they also tell other people, but I just try to ignore it and just keep on pushing.
Yeah, I mean, because it's gonna happen. And I didn't mean to bring it up for like a negative way, because I was gonna circle back and tell you that I definitely have, over the years, and people who not really, well, that happens too. They'll see me joke on something, oh, Erica's a pony. And then the next week I'm on Gaz's show, and then, oh, she hangs around with Xbox and she's condoning their behavior. And they're grown men. They're doing their own thing. They're just my friends, So that definitely happens. But I've also had people talk down on my channel or say, Erica's trash, her content's trash, or she, and I'm being nice with these words, because they've said crazy stuff about me. Like, so I was gonna circle back, and I asked you because that's also a selfish goal of mine. It's to prove them wrong, and to they're actually my motivation for growing my channel. Like the positive people who do support me are, of course, motivation too, but I always have a special part in my heart. And I know it's petty as heck, and people are going to tell me, Erica, that's not healthy. I don't care. Like, I want to grow and be successful so they can one day see my channel and be like, oh shit, like Erica, she did that? Hell yeah, I did that. Like, that's a goal of mine too. So I asked you, thinking, because maybe you have something like that to kind of motivate you to even more, to like rub it in, like, I did that shit. I did that shit. And me as a female too, I think it adds to it, because I'm in a world of men. I mean, really, it's a boys club a lot of the time. And I've been, there's been times where I felt like I was done wrong or whatever in the past. And it was always because the guys were more important and I was expendable. And so I think since then I was on this goal of like, I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show them, so that's what motivates me.
My motivation, if you're kind of taking that angle at it, would probably be me like coming up around a lot of noise and not having to be that, like, I don't want to be like a console fanboy in particular. I'm happy with having my preference, but I don't want people to think my preference is it's like, that way or the highway.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing on Xbox, and if there's no Xbox, I'm not playing anymore. I've been playing games before Xbox was even a thing.
Exactly.
Right. So like, I don't want that identity I don't want that thought to blossom into people's heads at all. But I can't control what people think. It just kind of is what it is. I'm just gonna try to stick to my guns, do what I think I do best. And that's why I said earlier when you were talking that I thought that was a great piece of advice, because sometimes I think maybe if I throw out a little salty tweet, it'll make me feel better, right? And it doesn't. It doesn't, especially when it's just when it falls flat. So then I'm just like, what am I even doing?
Yeah,
I'm pretending like I want a console. I don't want a fucking console.
Yeah.
I just want to play some goddamn games. I just want to talk to dope people, because at the same time, whenever I do something like that, that could harm the ability of me getting somebody onto the show.
It could.
down the line. So
Yeah.
so watching my P's and Q's has probably been my hardest thing with content creation so far, because I like to joke around, but I got to remember not everybody loves the jokes, and sometimes I don't do the jokes properly.
That's happened to me too. I've put out some tweets that were, if you understood it, you knew I was joking and you thought it was funny. But if you don't know me, you could have looked at my tweet and been like, "The hell's this girl on? She's a fangirl, or she's trying to get attention." I get a lot of that backlash. She just wants attention because she's a chick. You know, she don't really, or they'll say something like that. And it's just like, no, if you knew me, you would know this is clearly a joke. But yeah, it is a fine line, I think, because we do want to stay relevant in the sense of like the discussion, and we want to be funny, and we want to have our tweets kind of, I don't want to say pop off, but we do want to be somebody that, you know, people know, and Twitter is a good way to do that. And then it drives people to your content too. So it's like a fine line of like being compelling and a little bit messy, but you don't want to go full on messy and full on console fanboy and things like I kind of feel like I've mastered it a little bit, because people know I play what I play and I'm going to do what I do, and I joke. And it might take people longer than others to figure that out, but I'm pretty consistent. So I think there's like this fine line that you just have to master, where it's like you could put a spicy tweet, but at the same time, people will respect it, I guess, or you won't go that far into the fanboys, if that makes sense. There's a fine line.
Well, see, my whole thing is like sometimes I'll throw out like one of those like console-y tweets, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the thing that backfires on me is then I'll be honest about what's pissing me off about my own favorite hardware, right? So like I'll put out something like, "Oh, Xbox is gonna kill everything this year," or something like that. Just paraphrasing, right? Xbox is gonna like make the PlayStation, Nintendo look silly this year with their games. Their lineup is just too tough. Paraphrasing. I didn't actually send out that tweet, but just saying. But then I'll turn around and say, "Man, the Xbox Series X DVR is dog shit." And then that backfires on me with everybody that just thought, "Oh, he's one of us." Now they're like, "You don't know how to use your console properly. Why don't you just go buy a capture card? Why don't you just go buy a memory stick and record it that way? You could do up to an hour." And I'm like, "Well, I can do it on my PS5 without any memory stick. Why can I do that?" "Oh, you're just a pony, huh?" And I'm just like, "Nah, I'm being honest. Like, this shit sucks."
Yeah, like they'll start to think you were faking on the other positive tweets, and you just go with the wind. And yeah, that's a thing, because you know what it is, and it's just the unfortunate thing, because people do that. So everybody's all suspicious, like you're one of them, you're the same. So I think that's what happens too.
Yeah, shout out to Blaze 4K. We are actually wrapping this thing up.
I know, we've been here for a minute.
It just went on a tangent for like 40
minutes. Is this your longest show?
It's up there. I think the longest show is Mooch, and that kind of says it all.
Oh, Mooch can talk.
I know.
You think I can talk? Mooch can talk.
There's another person. Slow Mo was a pretty long show as well.
Slow Mo, shout out to Slow Mo. He can talk. Man, you want to talk about guys that can talk? Those two. Put them in a room, you're never leaving.
Crap Gamer told me that he could only be here for an hour and a half, and I didn't say a whole lot that episode, and it was like a 2 hour and 20-minute show. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't expect this." And I was like, "Dude, it was you. It was all on you, man. You're the one that kept talking." Some people just like to talk, and I'm here for it. That's the whole point of my show, is just sit back talking, learning something about somebody I didn't know that much about yesterday, or I followed a little bit of their content and I just want to get a further understanding on who they are and whatnot. Shout out to Blaze 4K in the chat with a $5 super chat saying, "Don't hate me, Solo. We'll make it work, Erica, for the win." I'm assuming he's talking I'm assuming he's talking about being on the show, but I've been trying to get Blaze on here for a hot
You
minute.
gotta
But
get Blaze.
I've heard Alex talk about how he just can't ever get a hold of Blaze and stuff like that. So I think Blaze is just one of those, like, he's like one of those mysterious Pokemon out there that you just throw in a bush and you just like, how the hell did I fucking finally catch you? Where
He
the hell
can
have
be
you
tough.
been?
He can be tough. There's been times where like I would game, or we're planning to game. And then Blaze would be like, yeah, hit me up. And then I hit him up and he just wouldn't answer. And so like, that's happened in the past. He's notoriously unable, to get a hold of. But when he does, it's worth it. So just keep trying. Just keep trying.
But keep trying. Yeah, I got you. No worries. Plus I set these things up like almost a month ahead, right? So
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like, are you available in a month and a week? And he's like, I don't fucking know. like that's just the normal response I get from people, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna pencil you in right here and ask you in 2 more weeks, sure, something like that.
Yeah.
So like getting a hold of everybody just differently, and especially people balancing work and life and kids and all this other stuff. I'm not over here demanding anybody needs to be on my show. That's why I do this stuff so far out, because I want to make sure that you're comfortable, you're set, and ready to go. Shout out to I'm Rich, the swag lord, saying, I see ERICUTZ. I click ASAP. I'm all in.
Iman. Awesome. Yeah, I know Iman. I see him around. Appreciate that. I love seeing the supporters,
Yeah,
awesome.
it's phenomenal. I like seeing all people that are just willing to talk about gaming, have a good time. I mean, we could bullshit or whatnot a little bit. If you want to talk shit about Xbox, do your thing. If you want to talk shit, if you're expecting me to talk about PlayStation, you're damn right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a little bit of it. I'm probably gonna even talk some shit about Xbox, especially when they do some dumb ass shit or they make shit a little confusing. I'm gonna talk about it. Am I gonna mope and roll in it all week? No. I'm gonna say my piece, and then I'm gonna keep.
Just be honest. See, I appreciate that, because you could have your preference. I mean, we all have preferences on things, but if you're able to, if you love it, you should be able to criticize it when they do wrong.
Absolutely.
Why not? If you just accept everything.
Quarterback on a football team, what are you saying? Get that motherfucker out the game.
Right. As a sports fan, especially, I see the correlation. It's like, when I'm not happy with my team, I'm going to say something. And, you have those fans that are like, well, no, just you should be there through the bad times. And it's like, no, it's that's just how I am. I'm going to criticize something. If I don't like it, I'm going to say it. And like with you, if you did kind of be seen as like this Xbox dude, some people will come at you thinking, well, you were praising them last week, now you're not, and they need to constantly hear the praising and the validation. That's just, some people are just like that. And I think by now people know they're not going to get that with me. And I think if you do it long enough, you'll get to that point too, where they know that you're not going to provide that for them. So they'll start to see you differently, if that makes sense.
No doubt.
So just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing is what I'm saying. It'll take maybe some time, but eventually people will see you as like, oh, that dude, he just says it like it is. And then, what's better than that?
That's why I'm trying to do that while having a preference at the same time, and people hate it. It just is what it is, though.
I can understand. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. It's like me with the Souls preference. I went really hard on Lords of the Fallen. I did not like that game, and people came at me. They did come at me for that, So it's the same thing, It's how it is. You just gotta keep doing it, keep going.
Fair enough. Well, I've had you here plenty long enough, and I definitely want you to get back to the family, get to chilling, doing the rest of your thing. Tomorrow is Friday. Hopefully you got time to kick back, relax, make a video if you please, if you wish, because I know that's what you said is your chill time, right?
That's my chill time. That's your chill time.
And maybe some gaming and whatnot. Other than that, it's off to work. So I do want to thank you so much for being here. But one thing that I do have to ask you to do for me real fast is going ahead and let everybody know where they can find you just one more time, and then I'm gonna have a little ending thing that I do every week. So go on ahead.
Nice. I noticed the Vampire Survivors gameplay on the screen, by the way. That's
Oh, man, I
fire.
love
That's
that
a
game.
great ass game.
I love it.
Yeah, just like the name said, you guys see my name or you see the links below or on the screen, you see my channel, ERICUTZ4THEWIN. You could find me anywhere by that name. I don't really stream. I know you're on the live tab. I stream on Twitch now. Again, I'm back on Twitch. But as far as videos, shorts, that's all on the channel. And yeah, check it out. If you want to support the channel, you could become a member. There's that thing. Yeah, so I mean, I do a lot of Souls content, but when I stream on Twitch, we talk everything. We hang out, we chill. I play whatever, and we just kind of goof around on Saturday nights. So this Saturday, probably around 6 p.m. Pacific, that's usually when I stream. I tweet out when I'm streaming. My videos, I tweet them out. Basically anything new with me, you can find it on my Twitter. So yeah, ERICUTZ4THEWIN. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my pleasure having you here. It was a really good time. Thank you so much for stopping everything that happens, that's going on in your life in real time, and coming in here and giving me a few hours of your life. It was absolutely great learning more about you. Hopefully I get to hear more from you. Maybe I'm on other shows with you down the line in the future. Hopefully that'd be phenomenal. I'd love to have you back here for a show at some time, possibly, especially seeing that you work from home. Maybe I could have you on the show for just a little bit if you have some time at some point. I do a show every Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So maybe I'll reach out to you sometime a little bit later on during the year and see if you have time to hop on the show. Maybe around the time that Black Myth game comes out, just to maybe hear what you have to say. Give you a little time to play it first, and then have you come on and talk about it a little bit
for
or whatnot.
sure. Definitely.
But it was phenomenal for sure having you here. 100%. What I do want you to do for me real quick before I sign myself out is go on ahead and tell me how you would describe gaming in just 3 words.
I was thinking about this earlier, like 3 words. It's crazy. Escapism for sure. I mean, that's all of us. We need escapism, and I think it's awesome to hop on games and just kind of get away from the stress of work or whatever it might be. And that's always been a thing. Rewarding, I would say rewarding is a good one. And fun is true, but it's such a boring word. What did I say? Rewarding. Challenging is a word too. So I'll just say those 3, I guess. Challenging, rewarding, and escapism. Yeah.
Okay. Escapism, rewarding, and challenging. Got it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming through, checking out the show. Thank you, Erica, for being here once again. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat today during the live stream. Shout out to everybody that watched. Delilah said we got her through dinner and house chores for the day, which is phenomenal. Awesome. I'm happy to help her push through her evening task and errands and whatnot that she had to make. Phenomenal. But make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern for Bullsitting with me, Loke, Cozy Beluga, and Matt Likes Games. That's our normal panel, but then we usually have a guest come on. Loke likes to get guests from outside of the United States, seeing that he's from Africa and he doesn't want to feel singled out all the time. That's his own business. Whatever, Loke. You goddamn buster. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Anyways, as for y'all, I hope to see you guys tomorrow or in the near future on another one of our shows on TSWS Gaming. This is your boy Ham Solo signing out from TSWS Gaming, letting you know to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
Bye. Peace.